Okay. Well, we're gonna give it a go. How's that sound? Oh my gosh. Hey everybody. Gosh, long time. Haven't streamed in a while. We're gonna do some updates with you guys. And whatnot. And I'll even show you a couple of things today. So, oh my gosh, my nose is itching like crazy. But anywho, some updates on the, wow, I really made my eyes water really bad. So I'll show you guys some updates on the farm, some stuff that's going on. I'm going to turn on something on here, but I'm going to literally take this all the way down. Yeah, I know, I'm not worried about that. Let's go here. No. I want to put on. I always usually have his stuff going, so we'll just leave that going because he does really cool farms, like tent stuff. But anyway, I was gonna go try live on TikTok tonight, but I think I'm gonna try that during like the daytime. But tonight I do have myself a adult beverage and just sipping at this. That is so good. I may have found a different drink that I like. I've always been a Jack kind of girl, but that was a gift to me from Jay, and I absolutely appreciate it. He said I would love it. He wasn't wrong, and might be a new favorite. But anywho, so some updates on the farm. By the time people see this, when it goes live after, or when it goes up as an upload, my auntie's gonna share stuff with me again tonight. The thing with whatnot is we no longer have pigs on the property. And I'll go through some of the things. First of all, yes, we did. It'll be ready anytime after. Okay, after 12. Okay, baby girl. So we no longer have pigs on the property. We did have them butchered. So if anybody's wondering, we did have them butchered. They were 8 months old. Butcher said it was actually the perfect time to do so. I'm quite bummed because we did want to keep the female, but after doing some talking with the butcher himself, who also owns pigs, and he raises pigs for each year. He gets 2 pigs, raises them for 8 months, butchers them, same time I did. And my neighbor who I purchased my pigs from, she said the same thing, which he said is once they figure out that they can escape, or they figure out a method of escape, you're usually not going to get them to stay put. They butchered 3 of theirs a week and a half before we butchered ours for that same reason. They all came from the same litter. So I think we ended up with a litter of escape artists. And when you have chickens on the property, you have dogs on the property, and a toddler that runs around outside, having, almost 200-pound pigs escaping, or I should say hogs, because they're no longer considered pigs, they're actually meat hogs. When they escape, you run the danger of, one, they do bite, and their jaw is extremely, extremely strong. And so you run into all kinds of problems. And so it was in everybody's best interest to have them done a little bit earlier than I wanted. I love Roblox. Hi, how are you? So, anywho, so they were processed at the beginning of the week. So on Monday, they came out and dispatched them and then hauled them off. And we should get them back. I should say we should get the meat back. All the processed meat and packaged meat, we'll get all of that back around the 9th or the 10th. Because it takes about 2 weeks or so, because we are having the bacon smoked and cured. We're having the hocks done so that we can do collard greens and stews and all that. Good to hear. So we'll have all that done. And then we do have our chickens. So tomorrow is our first day of actual processing. So tomorrow Our oldest roosters will be processed. So we have a few of them that are going to be processed out. We'll also be putting up the pen to put the younger roosters in because they're just nowhere near big enough to be processed yet. But our older roosters, they need to be processed now. They're to the point where they're actually, because they're in eyesight of and close enough to the females that everybody's fighting. And we're getting lots of feather pulling and pecking at each other. So now I've got 2 of the boys separated into the integration station with the other 4 that are, for the most part completely intact and not kind of, the bullies I should say, are left to each other. And then we have the hens and the younger birds together. So the biggest thing is we need to process out our older roosters, because out here where we live, there's just not a big draw for coming and getting roosters. Nobody wants them because they already have their own. And a lot of them are, raise theirs, like we're a homestead. So our roos, I try to find homes for them first because, we don't need that many to process anyway. But I would rather them be processed by me than to be taken by somebody who says they want a rooster and then they use it for fighting or as bait. And that's just, I don't want that to happen with animals that I put a lot of time and effort into. I spend a lot of time hands-on with them so that they are not aggressive towards people. Pretty much anybody can walk in there and they're totally chill as long as you don't wear red. Any kind of red or like bright pink or whatnot, they totally don't care. But if you come in with red or bright pink on, you're probably going to get some pecking, maybe even, a throw up of claws at you or talons at you. They're not a big fan of those colors. And they also see a wider range of color than we do. So that's quite crazy. But anyway, so tomorrow, after we get back from the babies' gymnastics, I am going to go out there with my neighbor. He's going to help me because it is a 2-person job. And we are going to process out my 6 roosters. It'll make life a whole lot easier with the way things are set up right now. And because they're fighting so much, we're going to end up with bruising and damaging to the meats because the boys are just at a point where they're just not getting along. Usually you don't run into that problem, but we got 4 of them in there that are absolute bullies to the younger 2 roos. And it's just, even though they've all been raised together and they're only a few weeks off of each other age-wise, I think like the older ones, the older 4 are only 4 weeks older than the younger 2. And they just are absolutely mean to them. They were all integrated together as babies, so they all grew up the last 5 months together. So it's not like they didn't know each other. So for 5 months, they've been totally fine with each other until the last week and a half, where they are just bonkers. Like we had 2 of the boys, we would cycle out the boys with the girls, just so that way everybody kind of just cycled through, had a couple of days at a time. But they're all within the same area, so they all can see each other and be right at the fence line with each other. It almost, because the way the fencing is set up, there's this wide open space between them, right? They can see each other, be right at the fence with each other, touch each other. So it's not like they didn't know or whatever. However, the boys needed to be removed from the girls because they were all starting to get too rough and started plucking the girls' feathers and also tearing up at the girls' backs. And they also have things you can buy aprons for the hens and stuff like that, which I might end up having to do, just because now that the girls' backs have been exposed, the 3 girls that were favorited by the boys, those 3 girls, because their backs are exposed, the other hens are trying to peck at their backs and stuff. So gonna need to get aprons for them anyway, just until their backs heal up and their feathers come back in. But other than that, everybody seems to be doing pretty good and whatnot, but the boys need to go. And as sad as that is, they are absolute ruckus every day because they're constantly battling out who's the big roo. And they crow at each other. So you've got 6 different roosters going at it, crowing all day long, trying to decide who's in charge. And that's just part of homesteading. So we're going to go ahead and alleviate that part of our biggest problem. And we just bought our deep freezer, so we officially now have the space to go ahead and store. And we'll have, of course, the other meat coming back from the pigs. So we'll have that going in the deep freezer. And we even have a section of the deep freezer sectioned off for one other use that I won't discuss on here. So that'll be happening. Also, I know that there's a certain person that keeps popping into my live streams being nosy as hell. So, that person, welcome in. You know who the hell you are. And you also have no business being here. You're not wanted here. You know who I'm talking to. Everybody that's a subscriber or follower or whatever, I love you guys and you're welcome here. But there is one certain person who has been following or jumping into my streams or coming in and viewing my videos, who then calls other family members and bitches and complains about stuff they saw here. Well, you know what? You're not a part of our life, so whatever you're seeing has nothing to do with you. And I just want to be able to put that out there. Like, I don't give a crap what you see here. And if you don't like it, maybe you should have been better. Because you're not worth anybody's real time. And so the fact that you drop in here is creepy, for one. Like, what the hell are you creeping on videos for? And 2, I'm glad it upsets you. And I'm glad it, makes you uncomfortable. I'm totally okay with that. You should be uncomfortable. So, those of you, everybody else, like, let's put it this way, it is a blood relative of mine. And therefore, if you're not that person, you're totally fine. But this person is a blood relative who has been disowned, and I no longer associate with that person. I haven't since 2016. I haven't spoken to that person since 2016. I have no desire to speak to that person. And the fact that that person still keeps coming in to try to, like, see what we're up to is so creepy. So creepy. Like, it's been 9 years. And they're still coming in and, like, trying to sneak in on my videos or watch my videos and then call family members who, like, I speak to on a daily basis or I hang out with on a daily basis or who I see all the time. I had a good day today. Did you? I did, Colton. Thank you. Yes, I had a fantastic day today. Got 9 out of 10, like 9 of my 10 hens laid today. We ended up all together since, Friday? So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday's egg collection. We ended up with 25 eggs. Super excited about that. I got my egg cartons in today, like my own personal egg cartons in today. So I'm really excited to do the customizing on them. And then I can take eggs down to my family. I got little cartons, so it's like half dozens. So they're like little cartons of 6. So I was perfect because I'm like, I can take those down to my family, hand those out. And if they keep their little cartons, the next time I come down to give them new ones, they can give me the other ones back, so that I can just, cycle those through. But I'm super excited about that. And then I also have ones that I'm going to take down, and I will be doing a half dozen eggs at $1.50 a half dozen to sell. So I think that's going to be really kind of cool. So technically you get a dozen for $3. So I'm super excited to go down to the little farmer's market and get to do that. I did not know we were able to do that until just recently, and my neighbor was telling me, like, take all your eggs. Like, right now we're getting 5 dozen a week, and I'm really excited about that. So 5 dozen eggs a week, that's all together, and we're literally using probably about 2 dozen ourselves. So we've got 3 dozen eggs. So that's like literally, if I take and sell those, that's $9 a week. Okay, I know that's not a lot to some people, but that $9 a week adds up to what, 9, 8, 20, $36. That pays for my chickens' feed for the whole month. So awesome right there. So right now, I think when I spend the money on my own, I pay $45 for feed and snacks, like little treats for them. And so just the feed alone is like $30. So that's awesome. Um, so the fact that our littlest ones will be going outside on Monday. So I have the 4 and 5 week old babies that are in the closet right here. They're the last ones to go out. That makes 36 chickens right now, but it'll be down to 30 um, with the 6 going tomorrow. So that will be a nice little change up because we have 12 in here, and then we've got 18 of them outside. And that's not counting the 6 roosters. The 6 roosters will be being processed tomorrow. So we'll have 30 chickens outside, and I've got one of those little freaking, what do you call them, on my wall. Hold on a second. What are you doing in here, you little gnat? Get off my wall. Okay. Sorry. It's because it's so hot out recently that any little bit of moisture on the windowsill, we end up with those little teeny tiny gnats, and they're annoying. So I just literally kill them. Like, what the heck? That's the fun part about living in the desert. You get lots of little gnats and stuff. But anyhow, so those little guys will be going outside tomorrow, or Monday. And the cool part is because they'll finally be outdoors. We're not hatching any more eggs right now. Probably won't be doing any hatching until next year. And when we hatch next year, the reason for the hatch next year will be because the idea is next year, because I'll have everything finally built by next year, we're going to have a separate pen that's going to house our roosters, which we will be keeping as a food source. And then our pullets will be raised up to laying age and then sold at laying age, so that people don't have to worry about raising chicks, which is a chore. But right now, because of the big, huge, mad rush for people to get chickens right now, we're not going to be part of that game. And I am not even remotely coming close to doing chicks and stuff to sell, because a lot of these people jumping in to buy chicks and then not understanding like what the real work is with chicks, and the mess that comes with having baby chicks. I would show you guys the room that they're in. Like, they're in the closet space, right? The big master closet is their space right now. When I take them out of here on Monday, I will be cleaning that spot probably for a good 2 to 3 hours with how much dust is produced by them. Even with wiping it down every 2 days, I roughly do every 2 days. I have the vacuum sitting right there that has a brush attachment, and I go through that entire room as much as I can. But because baby chicks are getting feathers in, and they're shedding all of that stuff over and over again as their feathers are coming in, especially the first 4 to 5 weeks, there is so much dust. And that's something a lot of people don't know when getting chicks. Now, I knew what I was getting in for before I got them. So I knew before I even hatched eggs, between talking with my neighbor about the process, between research. I've been researching for like at least 3 years, 4 years of research on chickens. Knowing full well, and we've talked about it on this channel multiple times, about me purchasing property to start our homestead. So this isn't new information. If you have been with us for a while, this is a conversation that has happened for years now. I know we even talked about it, gosh, back in like 2015 and 2016, we were looking for property. And so to finally have that, like, that dream has finally come to fruition, and we're working our butts off at it. And I love every minute of it. There are moments where I'm just like, oh my gosh, did I bite off more than I can chew on certain things? Like with the pigs, yes. A situation where I thought I did enough research, I thought I knew enough information. I had my neighbors who raise hogs for help, but just sometimes you think you've got enough information and you don't. So that's the problem with, like, right now with everybody in this big chicken boom that's going on. I may get hate for this one, but to me, chickens are livestock. they're not pets, they're livestock. A lot of places, a lot of city ordinances they are livestock. So a lot of these places don't allow roosters because roosters are loud. And they are, by the way, roosters are loud. And if you end up with multiple of them, they're obnoxious. So if you run into Tractor Supply and you think, oh, I'm just going to get 6 chickens, and I'm going to take them home and I'm going to have them in my backyard and I'm going to raise them. Chickens, not just roosters, but chickens are loud. When hens lay eggs, and I get to do this every day with 10 of them, between 8 and 9 of my girls lay an egg every day. However, 10 of these hens will sing for each other when they lay an egg. It's called the egg song. And they are loud, okay, when they lay an egg. They are loud. And when one lays an egg and she starts her egg song to tell you, I got an egg, everybody starts singing, okay? So, can you pray for it all? Same as Francine. Oh, Francine. Well, I hope it gets better. That's sad. So yeah, you get a lot of people that right now with this big chicken boom going on, they're buying chickens as pets. One, please, unless it is absolutely necessary, don't house your chickens inside your house as when they're grown, I should say. There's a bit of information about chickens. Chickens have no control over when they're going to go to the bathroom, right? So when their body is going to defecate, they don't know. They're unaware of it. It just happens. And that's pretty much any fowl. So any bird is just going to go. So like when they're flying over you and whatever, and people are always like, because they don't have control. It's not like they can choose to just poo on people. Presley, oh, I'm so sorry. So if you have them in your house, they're probably going to, make a mess. And also, you're really at high risk for salmonella. And when you handle chickens, so like when I go outside and I go out there and I check everybody and I do their feather check and I do, whatnot, and I've had hands-on with them. When I come in the house, I immediately, my shoes that I wear out there do not come in the house. They stay out on the back patio because I'm in and out of their pen, their big run. Come in, I wash my hands all the way up to here. I scrub all the way down because I have been picking them up. Usually I change my shirt. Or I keep like another thing on that I zipper up so that I can hold them. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, usually these, like, I think I uploaded a short today, earlier today on here. Yeah, I did. All right, bed frame. And then I didn't post the picture of the eggs earlier, but I will show you guys how pretty these eggs are today. I did my egg collection over the last 3 days, and these came out so stinking pretty. So I am so excited about them. I even got an Easter basket to set them in. So there you go. There is my egg collection for today and yesterday and the day before. So this was Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday's eggs, and I'm super happy about that. But yeah, they really did come out super cute. So I just took a couple really cute pictures of them in the really cute collection basket that I got. So they look great. And yeah, so I'm loving what I'm getting. So this was last week's collection. So we ended up with almost 3 dozen eggs the week prior. So I mean we're trucking along beautifully with our egg collection. So far, just since Wednesday, we've already got 2 dozen eggs. So we're doing fantastic in that sense. But yeah, so it's crazy to me like how the last 6 months have gone since hatching our first hatch of eggs to now they're producing eggs. And it's so crazy too because the color of eggs that I received for hatching versus the color of eggs my girls are producing is mind-blowing. Because I have it in a book, like who hatched out of what egg, So then I was able to kind of see where they would be when they started to lay eggs. So all of my girls that are laying really beautiful green olive eggs were girls that came out of like almost a light sea greenish bluish egg. So they were like a sea greeny blue egg, and they're all these girls out here. Their dad is a Rhode Island Red, who naturally comes from a brown egg, like a light brown to a dark brown egg. So when you take those two genetic lines together, you're going to get an olive egger. So pretty much none of my girls lay a blue egg. One of them lays an egg that's kind of teal color, but for the most part, my girls are laying either a light, one of them, which is sweet red, and I'm not exactly sure what she is. She's clearly some kind of Easter egger mix, because even though she looks like a Rhode Island Red, she's tinier than than my two Rhode Island Red girls, and her egg is like a pinky cream color, whereas the other girls' eggs are like a really rich orangey brown color. So yeah, I have four or five girls that are laying green eggs, and then the other ones are laying either the light colored one, and then the other four are laying like a brown. So yeah, I'm in love with it, and I love my freckled eggs. I have a couple of girls that are laying. The one girl lays really deep green eggs with polka dots all over it. And then the other girl, which is my ash girl, lays a very light green egg with brown freckles all over it. And I love it. The eggs are stunning and just, beautiful eggs. So I've got to grab a few eggs to get together, and that way I can take them down to my cousins, because they have little ones, and I think it'd be really cute to give them a bunch of eggs to have for Easter. Because eggs are expensive right now. I went to the corner, up to the corner store up here, and they have a little egg section for people to buy eggs, and they were from one of the regular ones that you get from the big distribution centers. And they were $9 a carton. I was blown away. I was like, $9 for a carton of eggs for just a dozen eggs? That's crazy. And with the baby's wick, like with Carlisle's wick, we get a dozen eggs with his wick. And I just thought, we don't really need to collect those. We don't really need to pick those up. Those, we can leave that little benefit to be spread out to somebody else. Because, So I think what we'll do is we'll get a hold of the wick department and let them know, we really don't need you to put that on his wick. Because one of two reasons. One, because he's not going to eat them. He refuses to eat store-bought eggs. Always has. He doesn't like them. But we get enough eggs. We're bringing in 8 to 9 eggs a day from our chickens. So we don't really need to pick up eggs from the store. That would just be ridiculous. So just let that benefit go to somebody else. So yeah, there's that. But I thought that was crazy. $9 for a carton of eggs. That's the low snow is out, and oh, I'm so sorry, hun. Well, at least you're doing good, right? But yeah, so it's just crazy to me. So I'm gonna take a bunch of eggs down to my cousins and let them have eggs, and they can even color them for the holiday, for Easter and whatnot, if they want to. The eggs are super colorful to begin with, so probably bring them all like the really light colored ones, so that they can have a chance at least taking some color. I know that the dark brown ones and stuff aren't really going to take much color because the eggs are brown, but but yeah. What are you doing, Colton? Oh, Job. Oh, that stuff is so good. Oh, random stuff. Oh. Let's see here. What are you doing? But let's see. Oh yeah, we also got the baby a really awesome birthday present for this year, and I think he loves it so far. But look at that. He got a big, huge trampoline with all the cool get up stuff in it. He loves it, so we're happy about that. I'm so in love with his little like birthday invitation thing that we put together for him. He's so stinking cute. So, we love this because we put this together for his invitation. He loves dinosaurs and he loves steam engines. And then it's him with his little homemade binoculars because he's celebrating his 3rd birthday coming up. And it's going to be so much fun. We're excited for him. Oh my goodness. I'm actually really sad right now because I may not process one of my roosters tomorrow. I may wait on him just until like he heals up a bit because I think it would just be so cold to butcher him right now with him being injured. But I don't know. Like I don't know what would be considered the better option just yet. But yeah, maybe it'll just be better just to go ahead and take care of it because the other boys I'm like, he's like the biggest boy of the group. However, when you've got 4 against 1, like he didn't stand a chance with the 4 of them all ganging up on him. So, which, go figure. So he's kind of separated tonight just so that way he has a little bit of a reprieve tonight. And then the other ones, we'll just get that taken care of when I get back tomorrow. Because we have a class for the baby tomorrow. So we'll go take care of that first. And then I'll get home and we'll take care of the other issues. So may have to do kind of my own little thing. So, okay, you got to stop doing that because it backs up the chat log. So either actually chat or like go goof off somewhere else because like it backs up the chat log and then I can't see any more of the chat because it shoves a bunch of stuff going up. Office till okay. See, this guy is really freaking. Oh, I know what he's doing because, as we all know, if you've ever done any kind of studying, powdered creamer has a very low ignition setting, so you can ignite it and use it as like a fire starter. So like if you're out in the cold or whatnot and you've got some yep, and that's how you do it right there. It will light super easy. So there you go. Don't blow on it, it's frigging powder, dude. Once you get it going, stick it down in the thing and get some little bits of wood on it. You'll get it going. My guy, what are you doing? It's because you keep blowing on it. Quit blowing on it. I love watching this stuff. It's so funny. Oh, by the way, guys, Sarah and I started watching a series the other day. Well, we've watched a couple of them, but we watched the series Alone. if you guys have ever seen that, it's like it's a competition type show, but it's called Alone, and it's where the people are left like individually, 10 people left to survive alone in the wilderness of wherever the show's going to take place. The first 2 seasons are in Vancouver, but the cool part about it is they're left with 4 cameras, 2 trail cams, and then a handheld cam and a mounted cam. Anywho, and it's the person who makes it all the way to the last man standing, so to speak. So as the season goes on, people tap out for a multitude of reasons. But the cool part is, I gotta straighten my hip. We've been watching that series, really good series. And then another series we've been watching is called Evil. That show has been mind-blowing. Like the first 2 episodes were like, you get like a kind of a wrap-up, a conclusion of the thing that they're investigating during the first 2 shows. But then the 3rd episode, they leave you hanging. They don't wrap up what's happening. So the next episode, they start to pull some more information and stuff. So I think that one took like 3 episodes to get you to a conclusion. But the show is really, really good. And I keep forgetting his name. The actor who plays in it also plays Luther in the series Luther. But I'm trying to remember his name. The cast. Who's the cast? His name is that the same guy? Right? Yeah, it is. Yeah, because he plays Luke, or not Luther, Luke Cage. He plays Marvel's Luke Cage, and he plays in Jessica Jones, which, by the way, if you've never seen Jessica Jones, y'all gotta go watch it. It's so good. So good. But I don't know why I kept saying Luther. Luke Cage. He plays Luke Cage. But in Evil, he's actually playing David Acosta. He is playing as the minister or the pastor. What is Jessica Jones on? I don't know if you can still see it on. Hold on, let me go look. Jones, where to watch? Okay, let's see here. You can watch it on Disney Plus, on YouTube, on Apple TV, and on Amazon Prime Video. So you can watch it on Amazon Prime, which is where I watched all of them on. So you can stream the full episodes of it on Disney Plus, because of course they have all the MCU type stuff on there. So you can go check all that out. I think they have Marvel, and I don't know if Disney has DC. The only way I could do that was if you wanted to do what? Anyway, so you can watch it on there. But such a good set of series. But right now Sarah and I are watching Evil on, what are we watching it on? On Amazon? Or are we watching it on, which one are we watching it on? I think we're watching it on Netflix. Are we? I don't remember which streaming platform we're watching it on. Yeah, we're watching it on Netflix. I was like, I know she and I are watching it on which one? On Netflix. So, and yeah, so we're watching it on Netflix, and then we are watching Alone on Hulu. So yeah. But on Netflix, it's the premium subscription. So you might be able to watch it, I think, on the regular Netflix standard subscription, but I think it comes with like a bunch of ads. So, anyhow. So there's the update, though, guys, on farm life-wise. You are on my YouTube channel. This is Marie and her TV. I may be changing the channel name because we're not really doing any more TV reviews. But I am going to, as soon as I finish getting this room done, we're moving a bunch of stuff this weekend. We are bringing my office stuff in here because we're going to move a couple of things around because we kind of want to gut out the RV. So we kind of need to empty it. So we're going to use the smallest room we have in the house because we have 5 bedrooms in here, but that small room. Hi, Jesse. We're going to kind of be a catch-all for right now to put everything into as we gut out the RV. Because I want to go ahead and get it gutted out, and then we're going to move it to its kind of resting location, so we can get it all situated and set. We're going to be putting down like a foundation, and then we'll be setting the RV down on that, and eventually putting in a septic behind it to empty things out from. Once we get everything kind of set up in there, it's going to be gutted out and it's going to be revamped. It's going to be kind of a permanent fixture, I guess you could say, out there. So we're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff to it, and it won't be a traveling RV anymore, so to speak, because we're going to utilize it as a space that's going to be for seating. Everything's going really good right now, so we'll be using that space for seating, for getting everything like starter stuff done. We'll be using it to mix and set up like the chicken feed kind of stuff. So we're gonna be kind of purposing the RV because I won't be doing any traveling with that RV, with the fact that there's quite a significant amount of things that would need to be repaired on it. So when we had Rigby, our cat, back when we first got the RV, he did a lot of wire damage. A lot. We didn't realize how much before we rehomed him, but he destroyed quite a significant amount of wiring. A lot of wiring that got chewed. He got up underneath like the engine bay area and destroyed some of the things under there. So we've lost power steering in it. We've lost the ability for the solar system stuff, the solar paneling system, to charge the house battery. So it's not charging the house battery like it's supposed to because that whole wiring system got chewed to smithereens by him. Underneath where the, what do you call it? What the heck is that thing called? Generator. The generator can't run to the other parts. So that's good. Yeah, we, at the start of the video I talked about it. We have butchered the pigs, so the pigs are not here anymore. So the pigs have been sent to butcher Monday. They came out, dispatched them, and hauled them to butcher. We'll be getting those back, the meat back from that on the 9th of the 10th. And tomorrow we will be processing the 6 roosters. They're big enough now, healthy enough now, that we're going to go ahead and kind of take that headache down. They started off doing okay, housed together. They all grew up together, so usually there's not much of an issue there. But there's not enough hens for everybody, so the boys have been separated from the hens for a while. But they are at a point now where they are all ganging up on one of the roosters, and it got really bad earlier today that he's now separated out and like recovering in a separate space. But we can't have them damaging each other because that's not good for the processing period. So yeah, I think they've reached like max size. They are big. These boys are big. They're roughly at about 4 or 5 pounds each, so they'll be decent rotisseries or stews or whatever you make with them. And I know that's probably going to bother some people on here, but like when you're homesteading, it's totally different when you live this lifestyle. So if this isn't the lifestyle that you're accustomed to or agree with or whatnot, you can find some other place, an avenue to go watch. Here we raise chickens for meat and for eggs. They are livestock here. They are not pets. Just a complete heads up. We will be getting hogs again next year, but not till next year when we finish redoing the entirety of the space. Because our goal is to eventually keep a female hog that we can, what do you call it, breed once a year to have a pick of a litter out of it and sell the rest of the piglets and then raise that one pig to butcher. And then when it comes of age, you breed her again. So when she has her new piglets, then you send that one off. And it allows for her to always have a companion because pigs have to have a companion, which is one reason why both of ours were butchered at this time. One of two reasons, because you couldn't butcher one and leave the other because they don't do well on their own. And two, because both of them kept escaping the pen, were digging under the pen and causing massive destruction. So no, they didn't pass, hun. They were we called the butcher out and they came and dispatched them and then hauled them off for butcher. So they were 8 months of age and it was time for them to, they were at the perfect age and they were both just under 200 pounds. So it worked out really well. The butcher said this is exactly the same age he butchers his. My neighbor did the same thing with the siblings of mine. They were running into the same issue of them escaping, so they did all three of theirs a week and a half ago. So we got ours done on Monday. They had theirs done a week and a half ago. So all of them are were all butchered at like pretty close to all that same window because of two reasons. Like I said, the biggest one is we weren't ready to breed her yet, and we weren't even going to butcher him until November, which would have made him almost, like he would have been just over a year old. However, like I said, we weren't going to breed her with the fact that she would not stay in the pen. We kept running into her getting out, breaking like parts of the chicken pen, so she kept going over and like trying to dig under the chicken coop, which absolutely not, because like they took the longest to raise and get ready to egg laying, and we weren't going to have her kill the chickens. Get what you're saying now? Yeah. So, yeah, they didn't pass like of natural causes or whatnot. They were raised for the purpose of filling our freezer. So this time around, like we've learned some lessons. Like I said, it's one of those things where as you like start this journey, right? Like, so with the chickens well before, like you've been with us, Jesse, for a long time. And we've talked about, starting a farm or a homestead and buying property and all that fun stuff. Well, we've been talking about that for years, like years. So people have been with us for a while, already knew that this was something we were striving for. So to be at this, chickens were definitely like top line, one of the things we knew we were going to do. And we knew that we were going to do it by hatching our own eggs and not purchasing already bought, like already raised chickens. And we weren't going to buy Tractor Supply chickens. With the history with a lot of people going in and thinking they're getting one kind and they end up with a different kind and not the birds that they're looking for, or you're told that they're sexed and then you get them and it ends up being not the right things. So for us, it was just easier to know that I was going to buy an incubator and I was going to try my hand at, starting from scratch, so that I knew like the chickens that I was getting were going to be hand raised by me. And that I'd know that when I went in and out of the pen and when I took care of them, that it was going to be because they were familiar with me, knew me, all that kind of stuff. And so that's what we chose to do. But we did a lot of research, quite a few years of research on chickens, how to house chickens, the proper way to house chickens, the best type of method out here with the fact that we have so many birds of prey and a lot of, coyotes and stuff like that, and how to properly secure a run and all that fun stuff. But also, we did quite a significant amount of research on hogs. I think I probably did roughly a little over 6-7 months of research, nowhere near what I did on chickens. And I still run into some surprises with chickens, let me tell you what. But I'm pretty versed in, and I can quickly, look up a bit of information or shoot a message over to my neighbor and be like, hey, I'm running into this issue. How do we solve this? I'm gonna guess you've had this before, and she shoots information back to me and we have a discussion. But with the hogs, one of the things I was not aware of, because I knew that when they know where their food and stuff comes from, right? They know where their food is, they know where their water is, and they know like the person that's coming to feed them. They're usually pretty loyal. I mean, they're super smart. They're like smarter than dogs. Like these guys knew to sit when I came into the pen to put food down, until they got to the point where they were so big I couldn't open the gate over and over again because they would just push their way past me. So it got to the point where we would just, dump the food over into their trough, which they ended up breaking and destroying because they're, 150 plus pound pigs. They also destroyed their home. So they had a structure that we built and put in there, and I think in 2 days' time they had ripped the legs off it, busted out the sidewall of it, pulled it down by breaking the leg off and then grabbing the top and pulling it sideways. Used it like a ramp to climb out and over the pen. They started digging away at where the posts were in the ground so that they could weaken spots to shove underneath. I mean, they really went to town tearing this space apart. So they learned that if they could get out, then they would get extra food because they were food motivated, and it was the only way to get them back into the pen was to bring food. And so it got to a point where if we were to come outside and let's say we brought Carlisle out to play, they thought we were coming out to have food for them. And because they thought there would be food, they started escaping while we were trying to be outside, which is dangerous with a 27-pound little 2-year-old, against a almost 200-pound hog. So yeah, it was not a safe scenario anymore. We also could no longer like open our gate up, like where we come in and out of our big gate. We had to leave that latch shut at all times. So if we were going to have a delivery coming, I had to have them like go into the system and message me to let me know they were approaching the property so that I could come all the way to the gate. Because more than likely by the time I made it there, one of the pigs was going to be out of the pen. And if we had the gate open, they would have taken off down the road or gone after the neighbor's dog or whatever, because they're hogs and they're crazy. So yeah. But you live and you learn, and we now know how to kind of combat that. For the next round, we're going to be a little bit more feisty with how we build the pen. We're definitely going to be digging down pretty good distance, so I think we're going to go about 1 foot to 2 feet down. We're going to lay cement in. We're going to put cinder blocks around the edging, down in the hole, so it'll be a cinder block wall, and then we're going to put our posts in each cinder block space, and we are going to fill it with cement on each one so that the posts will stay in the cinder block, right? So that it'll be set in there. And then we'll fill it in with dirt. And on each of the posts, as we go around it, we're going to hot wire the posts. So they have a hot wired post. And then we're going to probably do 2 layers of hot wire. So it'll wrap around twice. So if they come over to put their face or anything on it, they'll get zapped. Which a lot of people are like, oh, that's so mean. It's not enough to hurt them, but enough to catch their attention. And then you put the basic, like fencing. So we'll probably end up putting up, pretty much a wood fencing around that. So we'll use the metal rods to be like our conduit for the hot wiring, and then we'll wood slab it in all the way around, to prevent them from busting out. And this will also, if they try to dig, they're just going to hit cement. So they won't be able to really dig out. We'll be able to have the inset hog pool. It's going to be a metal pool, so that way it's like a metal pan that they can't destroy, because they destroyed the other pool that we gave them. I'm in this life, or is this the same life? I don't know, Colton. So we'll be taking care of that for them. But that's going to be something that we'll be getting in the works for next year. We still have this whole year to get through, and it'll be a project that will come next year. And once we have it set up, we're going to make it to where we have, I think it'll be a total of 3 pens. We'll have the 1 pen for the 2 hogs that'll stay together. The second pen will be for when the piglets are old enough. We'll separate the piglets out. And the third pen will be for our male that we remove that's going to be butchered. So when it's time for her to give birth, he will get moved to the other pen. So that way, one, because we don't want him breeding his, we're going to purchase it the same way we did last time. And it'll be brother, sister, so he'll be already castrated, so we won't have to worry about that. Yeah, this is the same live as last time. So yeah, just, one of those things. It's like I said, it's a learning lesson, right? Like you learn things as you go. And I'm quite happy with the things I have learned. We've been here almost a year. And in that time, we've raised 2 hogs I know it sounds crazy when you say it this way, we raised 2 hogs to slaughter. We've hatched and raised our own chickens to the point of egg laying. So we've got egg production. And we will have chicken going in the freezer this week. And we're at that, and then on top of that, we are building up processing and whatnot. We're going to be putting in a new water tank. So we're adding we'll have 2,500 gallons. So we'll have 5,000 gallons of water. We are adding a hitch to the vehicle so that we can now haul our own water. So this way we're saving ourselves quite a significant amount of money. But if you missed earlier, I gotta show you. But here you go, Jesse. There's the egg collection for the last 3 days. So Wednesday, Thursday, and today. So very awesome. Loving it, loving it, loving it. That's all my TV back there, by the way. But there you go. They're so pretty. I put them in this cute little basket. I had to. They're just this little basket I go out to use to collect eggs with. So it's like super, super cute. But yeah, they're just looking beautiful. But yeah, so tomorrow I'm not gonna have much of a choice. I've got to go out there. My neighbor already said he'll come over, and it's a 2-person job. There's no way I'm butchering by myself. So tomorrow I will be butchering and processing my own chickens, my roosters. So I know I'm gonna get people that are gonna ask. That's awesome. So glad you got some eggs. Yeah, we are to the point now we're collecting almost 5 dozen a week. So yeah, we're doing really good. So a lot of eggs, and we're gonna have, if I'm correct in our count so far, we either have 3 or 4 new hens out with the lucky 8. One of them is in the air on whether it's a male or a female. The other 4 I'm pretty sure are boys. But if 3 of them, we'll just go with 3 of them right now. If the 3 that are what we're pretty sure are hens, that'll give me 13 hens. And now with the babies that are in the closet right now, the closet in the room right here, if I'm correct in what we think, because they're almost 5 weeks old, or 4 weeks old for the youngest set, the other set is 5 weeks old, but they're all housed together. The older 5 chickens, we're pretty dang certain are hens at this point. They have no combs, no red on them, none of that. Pretty sure those guys are hens. So that'll give us 18 hens. And then the 7 that I have in there, only one of them is a possible rooster. The other ones all look like hens. So if that's the case, that gives us 6 more. So that'll be 18 plus 6 gives me 24 24 hens. So if that is true, if it is what I think it is, that's 24 hens, and roughly that'll mean about 20 of them will lay eggs every day, right? So you'll get about 20 eggs roughly each day if the average works out, because they're not all going to lay every day. So even with my 10 that lay right now, we get to where we get like 8 or 9 eggs. So 1 or 2 of them takes a break every day. Like, so you get one that'll lay, and then, you know, one will skip, and then another one will lay that skipped yesterday, and it'll, you know, they kind of stair step out, which is expected. You don't expect them to lay every single day, because their egg production is between 300 and 320 a year. So right in that window. So right now we're getting 8 to 9 eggs every single day. And once the other girls are all ready to start laying, so the lucky 8 girls, which I'm thinking are only 3 girls out there, I should start seeing egg production from them by June. And then these ones in here, I don't expect to see any egg production from them until roughly July or August. End of July, early August. If that's the case, right? So if these guys start laying in August, they will lay for a little bit, and then they're going to quit right at about end of November, beginning of December. They will stop laying for the most part because it's cold, and there's shorter days. So it takes like 12 to 14 hours of daylight for hens to lay eggs. So they slow down dramatically in the wintertime, and I am not bothered by that. Probably, out of 24 chickens, we'll probably get maybe 6 eggs a day, maybe. And that's a-okay. I mean, like with us here, the 3 of us, we probably consume roughly 6 eggs a day. So like 2 eggs each. Carlisle loves the fresh laid eggs. So like the very first morning ones, when I go out and get those, if I scramble those or hard boil those for him, he loves them. Loves them. But he will not eat a store-bought egg. This kid has refused to eat store-bought eggs since the day he was introduced to eggs. But with our chickens, he loves them. But the funny part is too, I think because we don't call them eggs, we call them butt nuggets. I always go, let's go get butt nuggets. And we go out and we get butt nuggets. And he thinks it's funny to collect butt nuggets. And therefore he wants to eat the butt nuggets, which is super funny. So, hey, if it gets him to eat some protein and whatnot, I'm all for it. And this split, I keep splitting it because I have such chapped lips. And I keep splitting my lip. And so, set right there. Where are you going? Set right there. That's my eye mask for bedtime. Like, I keep splitting it straight open. Like, it just splits straight down. Every dang time. But also, you guys, he's actually doing amazing, by the way. And you know what's really cool? Nice. But it's really cool because he is now only 2 hours away versus being on the other side of the United States. So he just got transferred, and we're so excited because he's like, I'm only 2 hours away now. So pretty much we'll be here probably every weekend. He loves coming out here anyway. So when he was living on the other side of the states, he was flying out here. Like, he's been out here to the farm 4, almost 5 times now, but he always made sure he waited till he could book a flight. But every time he comes here, he ends up calling his job and being like, I'm going to take an extra 2 days, because he just goes, it is so relaxing up here, which cannot be denied. Like, I can't explain to you guys what it feels like each morning when I get up and I walk outside and just step out onto the back patio or back porch or whatever you want to call it. I just step out there, and it's just like, you just look out and there's just mountains all the way around you. you see the entire expanse of the valley that we're in, and the fresh, crisp air. Because where we are now, don't get me wrong, it still gets really hot here in the summer, but it's about 15 degrees cooler than it is where we came from. So where we moved from to where we are now, which is about an hour's drive away, is about 15 degrees cooler in the summer. So where we came from, it gets up to 120 to 125 in the summertime. Here, I think even this past summer, because we were here for last summer, it got to, I think 115 was our highest hot, like heat day, which was hot, don't get me wrong, but it's one of those heats where you're just like, I can manage that, because we were so used to previously. So that was our first summer here. Now, as we spend more summers here, as we acclimate to this space, 115 is going to be miserable, without a doubt. We will acclimate to this, and then we're going to feel like, oh my gosh. Like, where we're at, we got snow this winter. We've gotten snow twice throughout our time here. So, super fun to stand out there with the snow falling. To sit here while we've got rushing water running through the center of the yard in our little ravine, which I love, by the way. I took a video clip of it. I did post it on here. But he comes out here and he's like, it's just, what a way to just unwind. Like, he got to come up here and he got to see me like get up and do my daily chores when I had the pigs here. Which, by the way, let me just say, because I had my neighbor ask this and Jay asked this, and I was like, he's like, don't you miss them? Like, do you regret the saying goodbye? And I was like, honestly, no. Because the biggest thing was them constantly escaping was such an anxiety for me. When I would go to walk outside in the morning and just be like, oh my God, please let them just stay in there long enough for me to get the food scooped and brought over. Like, please just stay put long enough for me to just get everything done. Because if they got out, there was a big problem. Once they were out of the yard, they went straight for the pig, or for the chickens, and would try to get their way into the chicken pen. So let me just put it this way. If two almost 200-pound hogs couldn't get into the chicken pen, we did a pretty good job, because the way we have it structured and set up, that was one of the biggest things. Secondly, I would have to go over and I'd have to remove all the measurements we put in place in front of the door for them not to, dismount the door, because they kept like pushing up and the whole door would come off of its little hinge. So we had to find a way to keep the door of the pen secured. So whenever they got out, the only way I could get them back in wasn't to push them back under the hole they made or to try to lift them over the top. I mean, these are 100+ pound hogs. I would have to get the door open and then coax them back inside. But before doing so, would need to get food and then get their attention to follow me with the buckets of food, then get them into the pen, pour the food out so that they were distracted, get the gate shut, then have to put the stuff in front of the gate thing again and secure it, and then go around and find a way to secure the spot that they ripped apart. So each and every time it happened, the anxiety would just, every time we had to come outside, even if that meant we had to go to a doctor's appointment or whatever, walking outside to get the baby in the car or whatever, every single time was a massive risk that they were going to get loose. And my anxiety would be up here. It would just be shot through the ceiling. And I would be so stressed out, which is one reason why I haven't been doing much of filming and stuff, because I have been in a flare-up and been so sick to my stomach and so much pain in my abdomen, and my skin and everything hurts and my body hurts. And even today, I'm still in a lot of, like, significant amount of pain in my back and in my hips, which is really garbage. When I'm in a flare-up, I can't sleep because my abdomen hurts so bad. Like, my diaphragm area, like right under my ribs, is in excruciating pain. Even now it hurts, but I think like you would never know that because I handle it. I guess I've gotten to the point where it's become such a norm that you just roll with the punches at this point. But I notice like my face gets very blotchy. I get very red, especially through here. So I've got like this big red patch on my face in here. My nose gets like if I touch it, you can see like the color change. My nose is very very red. Um, I keep thinking like I look at myself in the mirror and I go, I look like I've been crying because this whole area gets red and blotchy, but it's not. Like I'm not crying. It's just very red and blotchy, and then sometimes in this area it gets very very red, and I hate it. So I get like this, like your T-zone area, like this area here, but this is my biggest one, is this big patch of red right around my nose. So it always makes me look like I've been crying. Haven't been crying, but my skin gets really blotchy red and my skin gets super tender. And that means everywhere. Like all of my skin gets really tender. And I think a lot of that had to do with the anxiety that was coming with every single day getting up and having to deal with them. And going out there, I spent a lot of time hands-on with them, just so that way I knew that I could handle them when I went in and out of the cage, the pen, to be able to take them in and out of the pen. So I knew that going into it. Like when they got loose, I could safely deal with them because they allowed me to pet them, scratch their butts, scratch behind their ears. They loved their chins rubbed on and scratched, and they'd come up and let me just scratch the whole front of their snout. But that's just because I was hands-on with them from the very beginning when they were 2-month-old babies when we got them, which they weren't tiny, by the way, when we first got them. They were 2 months old, but they were already like 30 pounds each. But I've been hands-on from the very beginning, which I think was a blessing in that sense, was because I could easily get in and out of the pen with them. Every day I went in, no matter what, each morning I spent taking the things down off the door so I could go in, scoop their mess, and dump it into the composting bin, the pile that we made. So we made like a big dugout hole for composting. So we have that, and so I would go in every single day and spend mornings in there with them, giving them their food, keeping them distracted enough that I could scoop out, to keep their area clean. I was really big about making sure the space stayed clean, and I was talking to my neighbor about that, and he goes, "You don't need to do that every day," and I was like, "Yes, I do." He goes, "We just let it, they'll just push it all back down and whatnot." I'm like, "But I don't like them living in that." I understand that they will kind of pick a spot in their pen, which they did. They always went to the bathroom in the exact same spot, right by the door, every single time. Go figure, they would pick the space by the door. But it made it, if I didn't clean it, it would have made it impossible to get in and out of there. Because then I would have had that stuff piled in front of that door and I would have been locked out of that door. So every day it was a get out there, scoop it out of the way, shovel the area to make sure that I could still open that door in and out. So I think that was kind of a blessing in that sense, that I was so hands-on with them. So that way they knew I was who had food, I was who had scratches, I was who had, the time and energy with them. So they weren't aggressive with me. Now, they very easily could have been, because they can be. Hogs can be super aggressive. However, because I had them since they were, 8 weeks old, they were very familiar with me, and they knew I was their provider of food and whatnot. And when they would get loose out of the cage, they couldn't find anything because there was nothing to find, because we live in the frigging desert. So it wasn't like they could find stuff to rummage and whatnot. So they would search everywhere, but nothing would pay off. So as soon as they saw me with that bucket, they were like, "Oh, the food." And so therefore weren't butt heads with me. No, not at all. Like, absolutely, like that's, I know that sounds so weird, but not at all. I think I had hit a point where my frustration with the constant worry that they were going to be loose when if we left to go to an appointment and got back, I was always like on my mind the whole time I would be out, like at an appointment. I was terrified I was going to come back to them having demolished the chicken pen and that my chickens would be slaughtered. I feared that because we have the two dogs out there, that one of two things would have happened. They would have destroyed the dog pen, and the dogs got out, and Toby either jumped the fence and took off out of fear of the pigs, or that Godric, thinking he was big enough to fight the pigs, would try to fight the pigs and get himself killed. So each time I left, my brain was on the property in total fear that we were going to come back to a slaughter of some sort. And so it was never fun to leave the house and to leave the property. Um, and so the stress of that absolutely was not sad to say goodbye to them. I thought I would be when he got here. I went out, gave him scratches, told him, y'all have been good. You're gonna pay back, all the fun and adventures you've had. You're going to take care of us now. We've given you everything you need, love, care, and a stressful understanding. So it was time to say goodbye, and I had no problem with him doing the deed, and came out once he was, because I came inside to make sure that we put the TV up enough so that Carlisle didn't hear what was happening. But these people were recommended to me by my neighbor, and he was very concise, very swift, and it was done in, I think each one of the pigs, like, it took him less than 2 seconds, and they were boom, boom, down and down. And so I came out after he got him down. I didn't want to be outside when they did it because I didn't know whether or not Carlisle was going to get to the window or whatnot. And at this age right now, he doesn't need to experience that. When he's a little bit older, I don't mind him being a part of the process. But at 2 years old, I don't think he would understand that. And I think the sound of a gun going off might startle him. So we just chose not to have him be exposed to that just yet. So we went out there. I went out there after that part was done, and they did there's another process where they, drain them, so to speak. So went out there. He got them hooked up onto the thing, what we call hanging. So he got him hung, and once we had him hung, I was with him when he did the next step. It did not bother me. I thought for sure at first that it would, but I've seen it done before when I was really young. Our neighbors used to butcher their own. And so when I was in foster care, so I thought at first that it might bother me, but then I remembered the experience. And even then I was a little sad for the big old pig that was being done. But then I also remember, like, as they did the whole process, and then that night they went ahead and did the big cookout. And I got to enjoy some of the payoff of that. And so it didn't bother me so much. I think I just was so well educated by our foster family at that age about what that process was, and so that part was okay for me. So being out there with him when he did it, so we chose to keep the hearts of both of them so that I can prep those into a really nice dish. I did some research on some dishes for it. If you guys are wondering about, like, the heart of an animal, it's a solid muscle. It is a very well developed muscle, and very tender, because they were on the younger side. So it is, I'm a big believer in utilizing and using those parts. So for the most part, we're getting everything on the pig's back. We've got the ears smoked and whatnot for dog treats. We did not keep the hooves, so we're not doing any of the pig's feet. We actually had that donated over to the shelter, so those will be done, and the pig's feet are smoked and cured and sent over to the shelter, so they'll be tenderized and whatnot, and they actually utilize that to add to the dog food. So I did that. I was like, I need to donate some, like, that part of it. And then a couple of other parts that we're definitely not, like, the inside. So the liver and the chitlins and stuff like that, we went ahead and donated that section. Because that way it can be utilized for other purposes for animals in the area. So we went ahead and did that. But we're getting back pretty much everything else. We're keeping the hocks. We're doing, I have the list of it. Hold on, I'll tell you. Like, we got a whole list of stuff that we're getting back. Hold on, I'll tell you guys the list. So we are getting back, so this is counted both pigs. So we're getting back 4 slabs of bacon, which is being smoked and cured. We're getting 8 smoked hocks, so that's all 8 of their hocks. We're getting 10 pounds of breakfast sausage, 10 pounds of Italian sausage, 4 racks of baby back ribs, 4 racks of short ribs, 4 racks of the spare ribs picnic style. We're getting country ribs back as well. We're getting steaks back, which will be, we're getting the steaks back, the big pork steaks. Then we're also getting boneless chops because we are getting the picnic ribs. We are getting tenderloins. So I think it's 4. He said it was either 4 altogether or 8 altogether. But whichever way it was, we're getting the tenderloins back. We're getting 2 types of roast of 4 of those each. So that's a lot. That's 8 roasts. We're getting the 2 hearts, and then the rest of it is all being ground up into ground pork. So just plain ground pork. That can be used for many, many dishes. So almost 300 pounds worth of meat coming back. Very, very happy about that. That is a lot of meat coming back home. We're going to give some of this, of course, to family and whatnot. So we will be set for quite some time in the meat department for our protein intake. And, of course, between that and our chickens, our roosters, we've got egg production, and we've got chickens that are going to go into freezer camp and become things like pot pies and a full rotisserie, and maybe even some barbecue chicken. So, you do what you have to do when it comes to your homesteading. But also, like I said, I would prefer that if I could rehome or find a home for my roos, because they're such good boys, in the sense of they have been well handled. None of them are jerks when it comes to like human interaction. But they are aggressive with the girls, and that's just mostly because they're young. But right now, with the way the market is, people aren't looking for roosters, they're looking for laying hens. And secondly, if somebody is like all excited about getting roosters and multiple roosters, they're probably using them for bait, for fighting dogs, or for what they call cockfighting out here. And I'm not a fan of that. So I figure if I've put in 6 months of work into hatching and raising these beautiful boys, that they would give back onto us in the sense of nutrition. I would rather them be culled and humanely culled versus being, destroyed by somebody using them for bait purposes. So, and it does happen. And we would prefer to just make sure that when their time is their time, it is done with dignity and humanity. So, yeah, it's a lot. Jesse, it's so much. We were talking to the guy, and I was like trying to fathom like what that means. And like a rack of ribs, I didn't realize how much a rack of ribs weighs. And I was like, holy cow. Like when I go to the store and I go, I'm just going to get a thing of ribs. You get one and it's like, like 5 or 6 ribs on it. And you're just like, oh yeah, it's like 1 or 2 pounds of meat. A rack is an entire like section from like the front to the back. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So we're getting that, and then I'll have to like divide some of that up because I'm not going to cook an entire rack. It's just 2 of us that would be eating it, and then maybe a couple of bites for Carlisle because he's not going to really eat an entire like 2 or 3 ribs. Maybe he would. I don't know. Like recently, this kid can eat. So, I mean, what was that? Huh? Whose wedding day? I don't know whose wedding day. Whose wedding day are you talking about, thing? I need that. Oh, give me that. There we go. My phone's about to die. But yeah, so that's kind of the update on the property. But I also know, if you guys have been, those of you that have been following me for a long time, I've mentioned this in my videos before that a certain family member, a certain blood relative of mine, I cut ties with. Pretty much haven't spoken to that person since 2016. Have no desire to. Have cut off all communication with that person. And I found out recently, actually, this isn't the first time I found out, but this person has been doing the whole sneaky, peeking in and sitting in on my live streams. So, hey, which is creepy, to be honest, because I haven't spoken to or even acknowledged that person in almost 10 years. It's just, to me, like, why are you snooping? You had every opportunity from the time I was a child to be a good person, to be an involved person, to step up and admit you were wrong, and admit you were a piece of shit, and admit that you were absolutely horrendous of a person, and you chose to deny that you were. You would admit that you weren't the best and that you had your mistakes or your flaws, but that's not it. You were in total denial, and always have been, of the absolute horrendous treatment that you put forth, right? And the fact that once cut off, never been around for my kids, don't even really know my kids, like maybe had a couple of interactions over the years, but like nothing significant, right? Not even enough that they have even any real memories with that person. And then that person to come in and be snooping in on my videos. But not only were they snooping in on my videos, but the information that they gave to a family member, who, by the way, I'm very close to and I talk to all the time, to go in and give information that was incorrect. If you're going to spit something and you're going to be all pissy about something, maybe get your facts straight first. So if you guys have been around for a while, you guys know that I lost my sister in October, shortly before her birthday. And we decided to do a live stream on for my sister, right? We were going to do Building the Hogwarts Express. And while we did that, we were going to try to raise funds for her cremation. And so we did an entire GoFundMe setup and everything to get that going, right? So we did that. And very shortly after that, we talked about the fact that my aunt and I were trying to plan a trip. Now, we ended up doing a different live stream to let everybody know that we have now canceled the GoFundMe, because my aunt had come forward with the funds to go ahead and cover my sister's expense, to get it done. We didn't want her sitting for however long it took us to get the funds. She just said, you know what, I've got them right now, let's just do this. Now, we also mentioned in that time frame that my aunt and I are postponing our trip, right? Because of funds. Now, nothing to do one with the other. One reason had nothing to do with the other, and I never stated that. I never said we canceled our trip because my aunt used her funds to pay for this. It was my aunt paid for my sister's cremation, but we are postponing our trip because neither of us has the amount it's going to take to get neither of us, because of the fact that what we need to book our tickets, which we were each covering our own, because what we were going to do was one of those, all-inclusive packages, which was the smarter way to go. So that included airfare and your hotel accommodations and food accommodations in the hotel kind of thing. That did not include what we would want to spend when we went out and about, right? So our little tours and our little expenses for, I don't know, for little fun little gadgets or whatever that we decided to bring back, like trinkets and stuff. So any shopping we decided to do while we were there. So we both know that we would need, at least a minimum of 10 grand a piece, to do this trip. We know what we like to spend when we're out and about with each other. So we know that we don't have that this year, and it had nothing to do with the other. So to come on and make this whole thing like I said, my auntie and I had to cancel our trip because my auntie used her trip funds. What difference would that, like, her spending that money had nothing to do with the other thing, because her spending her money had nothing to do with what I had funds wise, which neither of us have enough. So even if she did keep her money and didn't spend it on my sister, we still didn't have enough. So either way, we were going to have to postpone. So the person went and like made this whole statement, by the way, who the fuck are you to decide whether or not we can go on a trip, and what does that have anything to do with you? Right? Like, hello? My aunt and I are like, what does one have to do with the other, first of all? And secondly, why is it any of your business? Right? Like, what is it your business for? So if you were so bothered by the money that was spent on my sister's cremation, I don't know, maybe you should have stepped up to the plate and figured out a way to pay for it yourself. I don't know. Also, maybe not ask if you can give money back when it comes to the cost, because, you know, maybe you should have just done it yourself. But seeing as you didn't, and you didn't even offer, and you didn't even have a problem with it until you thought that we had a trip planned, like, what does that have anything to do with that person? Like, what? So, first of all, if you're going to come in here and you're going to pick and choose what information you take away from it, maybe get the information correct, but also, like, fuck off. Because it's none of your damn business. Just saying. It's just, mind your business. My business and my auntie's business is not yours. What my auntie and I do together, none of your business. None at all. And if I choose to share stuff on here, that's for me to share. And for you to just go and find something else better to do with your time, because it ain't here. You had your chance to have a connection. So when you're back in the background creeping and watching and stuff, like, that's a little unhinged. Maybe go get some therapy. Just a thought. You know, maybe go get your head checked, because it has no business being in this conversation or in this environment. I'm a good mom. I took care of my kids. I love my kids, and both my kids love me in return and are absolutely amazing humans. So, you know, and even though my daughter, like, really messed up her ankle quite bad, and she's still recovering from a very badly shattered ankle while taking her little boy to gymnastics class. She got injured in the process. And you know what? She hasn't skipped a day of still getting up and taking care of that little boy and being a part of every single day, even when the rough days were happening. So I did good. My kids are really well provided for, and my kids are really good people in return. So yeah, I mean, there's that. And I mean, the life that I've chosen to push forward with is in no thanks to you. So, like, you don't get to have any hand clap in any of that. My foster families and my foster parents and my foster siblings and my Aunt Julia, especially my Aunt Julia, has every bit of the credit in how I am as a mom. She is my biggest champion in it, and my biggest cheerleader, and my biggest go-to when I have a question about motherhood and things that I need answered. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna creep around in here, that's weird. So weird. That is so unhinged. Does anybody else find that unhinged? To be like, you've been disowned by someone, and yet you've also been blocked on multiple areas of my social media. And yeah, and a damn good grandma too. You're damn right. Like, that little boy is everything. Let me tell you what. But when you've been blocked on people's social media because you've created multiple accounts, like, tell me that is not unhinged. Like, is that not unhinged? Like, isn't that just creepy? Because if I keep getting stories back from my aunt and my uncle about this person coming in and talking to them about what I say in my live streams, which by the way, they tell me when this person comes to them about my live streams. So I know on multiple occasions you've still been hanging out in my live streams. So if I hear more about it, I might actually go in and get a like a court order to get that person to stay away from my stuff. Yeah, it's super creepy, right? It's so creepy. Because at this point, you know what I mean? Like, I don't trust this person. Like, you couldn't pay me enough to trust this person. Also, there are occasions where we've had Carlisle on stream. And the one thing, as you guys we've talked about, is that Sarah doesn't post photographs and stuff of him online. That's like, unless she has chosen to. We've also gone in a lot of streams where he has been present or whatnot. We have privated. And if you guys are wondering why that is, or why we have removed anything where he was in a video or whatnot, those were removed, or they're not even removed. They're there for us to still access, and a couple of family members that have a code to access it. But it's because of that person. Because our biggest thing is we know that person has no boundaries. They don't respect boundaries. They don't respect people's like, hey, don't do that kind of thing. And we're so afraid that that person will take video or snapshots of the little man and like post it or share it with somebody, because they like to make themselves look good to people. And there's people that think that this person is just so awesome and so sweet and so amazing, when in fact it's just a mask, and this person is an absolute narcissist, and so full of themselves and wants people to think that they're this great person, when in fact they're nowhere near that. I'd go so far as to say this person is an absolute trash dump, garbage person. For multiple reasons. And to me, to keep hearing from my aunt and uncle repeatedly that this person is still coming in and still watching my stuff and still making comments and still like, what are you doing? That's so creepy. And I've never, in any of my things, when I talk about this person or I've mentioned this person, do I name who it is? Do I ever indicate who it is? Just that this is a blood relative, and that this person has had multiple chances to be a part of the life of myself and my kids, and that person has chosen every single time to put their own needs ahead of anybody else, right? Like, they don't show up for family gatherings, they don't show up for family events. We will all as a family say that there's going to be something going on for so-and-so or for so-and-so, and everybody in the family is made aware. And if this person is on any of those other pages, except for mine, of course, back then they were still part of my Facebook page and stuff. This person was given all sorts of opportunity, so many times. I opened that door on so many occasions. This person could have been a better person back in the day, so that maybe, foster care wasn't a thing. But no, this person was not suitable and not capable, and therefore, when that type of situation came about, this person couldn't be our caregiver. And therefore, like, you had opportunities. You had times to get shit right. You had so many things. Even once I became an adult and I decided I would go out of my way and bring the kids and bring myself to kind of get to know you, to kind of give you an opportunity to really get to know me, get to know my children, get to just be involved with family. And every turn always had an excuse why they couldn't join everybody, why they couldn't come to Christmas dinner, why they couldn't come to all the big family, like, Thanksgiving gatherings. We're always invited. always was invited, was always told when we were doing things, was even offered like, hey, when you come up, bring a dish, you know, this is what so and so and so and so and so and so are making, you know, let us know what you're going to bring, whatnot. We can put that on the list of things that are going to be brought. But never once did they actually make the time to come out and do so. And on one occasion when they did come out, they made a statement of, well, I wasn't going to be here, but, you know, your aunt threatened whatever. So you're only here because of an empty threat that was made to you about whatever. I don't even remember the whole situation. But you didn't come here because you wanted to actually be with all the family. And there was everybody there. And that person said this out loud in that room of like 20 plus, 30 plus people. You know, there's the door. You didn't have to come. So they made it very clear that they didn't want to be a part of the family. So why in the world are you snooping and sneaking and creeping in my social media? Weird. Right? I mean, I can't be the only person who thinks that this is super creepy. Like, my aunt thinks it's creepy and weird. And I love when she calls me, she said, you're never going to guess. And every time she starts with that, I know exactly what she's getting ready to say. You're never going to guess. Yep. So, just so you know, because I know this person is probably creeping in this stream. And I know this person is probably going to watch this if they're not in the stream right now. They're probably going to watch this once it posts as a video upload. I know this person is probably going to see it. And they're probably going to open their mouth again. But I just want you to know, every time you open your mouth and every time you try to put a wedge between myself and my aunt or my uncle, or try to think you're going to play some wild ass game, we see you. Because we got each other. We got each other like sisters should have each other. We've got each other's backs like mother and daughter, but also like best friends and sisters. Because she's my aunt and we're more than just that. Like, she's like a second mom to me, but like an only mom to me because, like, you know, my foster families and stuff like that. But like, I didn't grow up with like a solid mother figure. And when I became an adult, I had my aunt. So my aunt is that like one in a million. And then she's also my best friend. But she's also like having a really solid bigger sister, like older sister. We're only a couple of years apart in age. So I think we're 7 years difference. So yeah, she's like my big sister, but like also a mother figure who I take all my mothering advice from. So yeah, like the best person in the world. So like trying to put a wedge between us is so weird. So weird because you had a chance to be that kind of person as well. So you had a chance to be like a mother and a best friend and a sister. You had that. You had that chance, but you didn't take that chance. So I don't understand, like, why make a big deal about it in the background? But also, why try to make me the bad guy? Why try to paint me as somebody who's the negative one or the bad one or doing something wrong? When I literally stay in my own little corner. I take eggs down to my auntie. I'm going to be taking her some pig. So she's going to have some pork, some ribs, some ground pork. She's going to get eggs. I'm going to take her all that stuff down there. I mean, I even got to meet baby Peyton the other day, and oh my God. My grandma heart and my cousin heart exploded holding that teeny, tiny little bundle. She is so stinking cute. But I got to do that the other day, and I took my auntie 2 dozen eggs and went and hung out with her. We're planning something for another person. It's so weird and creepy. But yeah, we're planning something for a special someone, and we're working on that. And so she and I wanted to get together so we could sit down and do a color board and stuff like that for this person's special thing. We're not talking about that on here because that person has made it very clear they do not want this information online. But I can just state that we're doing something super special for a really special someone, and I can't wait to do it. I cannot wait until they walk into that room and are so surprised by how much love and effort got put into what we're doing. So it's my aunt and I planning it. But we have 2 extra people that are really big about wanting to add a little twist and spin to some of the things that are going on. Um, but I think it's going to be super, super special. This person kind of has an inkling that we might be working on something, but they're not exactly sure. But this person is such a special person in all of our world that we want to make sure that they feel that special, that how special they are. But there's that going on, so we're planning stuff. So I've been traveling down there to take stuff to her, which is, it's easier for me to travel down there because I'm the one bringing like eggs and everything, than for her to travel up here. So I'm just like, I'll just drive down the mountain. It's easier for me to get down onto the main road and take off down the mountain. It's a harder trek up, but she works until like 2-3 in the evening, so it's easier for me to come and meet her when she's off work, because my job, I'm here on the property, right? So I'm taking care of the land, and therefore I've got a little more free time. You know, I'm retired. I don't have a 9 to 5 that I have to worry about. And also, my kids are grown. So, and then, of course, she's an amazing grandmother. Oh my gosh. I love watching her with her grandbabies. And I love watching her with Carlisle. She cracks me up with Carlisle because some of you guys aren't aware of, because we haven't shown him. We don't really show him very much. But he is an absolute character, okay? This kid has so much personality. He's also super, super talented. If you show him like a choreography thing, so like something that's like a dance move, he watches it a couple times and he nails it. He's got it. He knows it. One of the things he's finally doing, like I say, he's 2. He sings his ABCs, the full thing. Yeah, she cracks me. I actually have a video of her and him day before yesterday. She's a big girl. We all know that. So she's laying on the floor trying to like ease her back because her back was hurting. So she's laying on the floor by the fireplace, and she's on her back, and she's got her knees bent, you know, so she can push her back into the ground. So Carlisle comes over and he does the exact same thing. He puts his hands like this, just like she's laying next to her, and then he starts pushing his feet and like moving away from her. So she grabs his leg and pulls him back down to her. And we've got hardwood floors, so every time he goes to move her, she pulls him back down. He's just at that point in giggle fits, as they're doing. And it was just, she spent like a good 15 minutes doing that with him, and he would just crack up. He's also a gymnast, so he's in gymnastics, and he's really good at it, by the way. He now can do a full split outward, you know, so not this way, but like this way. So his legs go straight out, drops himself to the ground, full split. He's able to do what they call skinning the cat on the bar. So his coach was like, he's 2 and he's already doing it. Which, if you don't know what that means, it's a gymnastics term, and it's when they hold the bar and they're down and they bring their legs straight up, right, and they bring their legs up and in between their arms, and they bring them up and through, put the legs all the way up, and then they bring the legs back down and then come back to the ground from the bar, and then pull themselves up on the bar and spin and dismount. Well, he's able to do the full, grab the bar, pull himself up, drop himself down, pull his legs up, pull him through his arms, pull his legs back down, and dismount. He can't get over the bar yet when he wants to, but he's going to have it before we know it. And he's only 2. And it's not even something they're studying yet. It's just something he does here on his bar and his rings and stuff already by himself. Something he's been doing since he was super, super little, since he could grab on to anything that he can hang from. He's always been able to pull his whole upper body up to it, like his whole lower body up into his upper body. Kid's crazy. He's got this stuff. He loves gymnastics, you guys. Like, I can't even explain to you how much this child loves gymnastics and choreography. So if there's a dance stuff to do or choreography to do, he loves it. He's also capable of counting. Like, I don't even know how high he can count yet because he counts constantly. So he's got counting down. He knows his shapes, his colors. He does ASL. On top of, not only does he speak like full sentences now, but he also does sign language. And a lot of times he signs with his talking. So a lot of times he's not just talking to you, but he's also signing while talking. He does his ABCs, which is, by the way, the funniest. He also sings Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, Itsy Bitsy Spider, the Bubble Bubble Pop song, the bunny song, the good night song. We have a good night bedtime routine song. He also, like, if you put on Fortnite, you know how they have the little Fortnite dances? He can pretty much do most of the dances that come on the screen, which is super funny. Yeah, he's a character. He's an all around character. He also loves basketball. It's something he's learning recently, and we got him a basketball hoop with a little basketball, and he's killing us with cracking us up with that. And he also now, with his sling that he has that he loves to sit in, he has gotten to the point where his confidence is through the roof. So now he will get himself in it, push himself off, and then tuck himself completely inside of this sling. So you almost don't see him. He's just this little ball hanging in there. And just chills out in there and gets the giggles if he runs into anything while he's swinging. So we have a little audio. I'll actually play it for you guys. There's an audio clip of him running into Neil in the swing, right? So Neil's sitting on the floor. So every time you hear Neil go, ugh, it's because Bubby's running into him. And he's cracking up. He's so stinking funny. Wait for it. That laugh. Oh, I love it. Oh my god. Literally best sound in the world. Oh my goodness. And every time he gets giggling, he gets the hiccups. The funniest part is you can't see him. He's literally inside of the...
Did you get him? Did you get your dee-dee?
He's so stinking funny. He said, "Where are you, dee-doo?" So, yeah, he is an absolute character. He gets the giggles. And once he gets the giggles, it's even funnier because he gets the hiccups every time he gets the giggles. And it's the cutest thing in the world. And I can say that I am literally the most blessed human in the world. Because I get to get up every day, even when I'm absolutely just exhausted. Even if I'm in so much pain. Getting up and seeing his little face, or he runs over here to the door, and he's like, "Gigi, Gigi, good morning, Gigi. I sleeped it, Gigi," and just the best interaction. So, just the best little bean. I love him so stinking much. Oh my god, my aunt sent me more. I can't with her. She keeps sending me reels. And let me just tell you what, I don't know how or where she gets these things from or why her feed is filled with this stuff. But I get the literal giggles from her every time. Every night we go back and forth with this stuff. I'm pretty sure it's a hamster. Text words. Fine, right. Click on here. Yeah. Oh, they found that little boy. Dang it. That's the second kid now to go missing and to be found in a water area. Well, not wrong. It's that time of year, everybody. That's so funny. Oh. Y'all. Japanese people. Ouch. How did that even happen? Oh my god, stop it. Get out of here. So, letting this thing charge. So yeah, anywho. I just thought it was funny because I told my aunt that I would get on here and do a live stream. And that I was going to give an update on how the homesteading is going and how the farm's doing. But I was also going to be a complete and utter smartass about this person. Now, the way I said it at first, I was going to actually call this person out by name and get everybody in chat to say hello to them. But this person doesn't, like, I know who it is, they know who they are, but they don't deserve acknowledgement from the community. Other than to say, hey Creeper, how's it going, Creeper? Like, y'all can say hi to the creeper that's creeping in the background, because I know damn well that person is going to be creeping in this. Whether they're here now, creeping in the background and got themselves incognito, I don't think they're smart enough to put themselves incognito or even know how to do it, but like maybe they are. But I can tell you this, just so you know, Creeper, I can, after the stream, go in and I can look at everybody that viewed the stream, right? So if you're incognito, it's not going to show up. But if you don't know how to do that, your name is going to show up. Whoever dropped in, even if you only dropped in for 30 seconds, it gives me a list of everybody that dropped in. So as the creator, I can check that. Just like I know, I can look and see who's following or subscribed to the YouTube channel. You can go in and look at who all your subscribers or your channel followers are, right? So I can go down that list. Now, if I find that person's name again, now I've already done this twice, where I have blocked that person on here, right? So this person has clearly created another account. And because I'm just too lazy to go in and take a look, I haven't gone in to take a look. So now I think what's going to be really funny is, because I've already had this discussion with my aunt, we're going to drop little Easter eggs, right? Little Easter eggs in the video. And I'll let my auntie know, like, something I've said that's completely just off the wall, just completely dumbfounded, right? Like, not even genuinely real of anything. And I've already let her know that that's what I'm going to do. So now if that information gets to my uncle and back to my aunt, I will know exactly where it came from. So we see you, right? We see you. We know you're there. And we are acknowledging the fact that this is going to be oh so fun to play. I'm retired. So I take care of chickens and property and my doggos. Speaking of which, my dog has a hair appointment coming up. My dog has a hair appointment. I don't even get hair appointments. My dog has a hair appointment coming up. And whatnot. So I'm, like I said, and I do diamond paintings now, by the way, guys. I am addicted to diamond paintings. Oh no. They're so consuming. I'm going to tell you that right now. But anyway, off topic. So because I have time, technically I have time on my hands. I don't have to be up and helping Sarah with the baby, but I love doing that because I love having that time with my grandson. But I can take time away from myself to just enjoy and bask in being able to screw with somebody who keeps wanting to creep around. So seeing as I don't have too much to have to worry about, time-wise, I can take some time out of my day just to sit down and do a live stream, just for the sake of really having a fun time messing with somebody who wants to come in and try to cause problems. So if you want to purposely try to cause problems on unfounded crap, which nobody really cares about, to be honest, like I don't even care either way. I just find it funny that we can literally go in here and have a good time just messing with that person because we know that they'll take the bait. So the bait is there, it's set, hook, line, and sinker. So if you choose to take it, I'm gonna know. And therefore, let's put it this way. If this little tidbit, there's a thing I've said during this live stream, which we know this person's going to say something about. I know they're going to say something about it. If this person says something about it, then we already know that this person is creeping and creeping hard. Two people are well aware of the information. So there's only two people that this, or one person technically, but two people that this person always tries to reach out to when, oh, so and so said this. She calls me by my actual first name, which I do not go by. I do not go by that name. My aunt has been kind enough to just call me Mary versus my full name. I go by Marie, which is just a different spelling and form of the name Mary. But I don't like to be called, I prefer to go by Marie. My aunt is working on calling me more so by the name Marie. My cousins are starting to get better at calling me Marie versus my first name. But this person always calls me by my first name, and it's the one reason why I don't like going by my first name. It's because the way they say my first name. Not so much that they say my first name, it's the way they say my first name. They try to make my name, you know how Draco Malfoy says Potta, as if though it's a very derogatory thing to say. This person says my first name, like it's something disgusting or derogatory. And therefore, every time they say it, it sounds like a slur. And it's annoying. And therefore, I don't go by it. I go by my middle name. And preferably, I'm actually at the point now where I'm going to go in and probably legally change my first name. Because I can't stand my first name. I hate my first name. It is a disgusting name. I hate the way it sounds. And I think it's just because that person's way of saying it has been ingrained in my skull. And the way they say it, it just sounds so gross. So my first name is just gross. So I go by my middle name. I prefer my middle name. I like my middle name. And it's been handed to other little ones in our family. So I prefer my middle name. So that's a name I choose to go by. It's still my name. It's just not my first name. So there's a lot of people that go by their middle. Let's put that person in. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So just, you can say hello to the creeper. We're just going to dub them the creeper. Sneaky creeper, whatever you want to call it, but creeper. Because, that is so weird. It's weird and unhinged. To me, it's just unhinged. That's the kind of person you should probably get to seek therapy. So they can start having an inner look at, the reason why people don't want them around. And why people have cut ties with them. And why people have chosen to be distant with them. Because, when you're that toxic, such a toxic human, and then the people who know you, who have been around you their whole life, who have experienced your narcissism and your wrath and your hatred and your selfishness, to see you go online and say things and get people that are oh, so-and-so, I'm so sorry about this happening to you, or oh, so-and-so, you're got such a sweetheart, or oh, so-and-so, you're just such a caring person. It's bullshit. Do you even know who you're talking to? When a mass amount of people, a massive group of people, blood relatives, people around you, all know better than that. And all of us get oh my God. The fact that when we see comments about that person, of them being so, oh, bless you, or, oh, we're praying for you. Y'all don't even know who you're sending all these well wishes to. And the fact that this person is so fake. So fake. You only know the person that they're presenting to you and not who they are behind closed doors. Who they are to their partner and how they treat their partner and how their partner deserves so much better is mind blowing that that person still has that partner because that partner is such a good hearted person. And like, I just, my mind breaks at how that person handles being treated that way all the time behind closed doors. And like, we all know how that person gets treated. We know how that person gets talked to. And this person presents to their little group or their little friends or the people that they've met in like work environments or whatever. This a whole different presentation. And so it's like the most fakest mask this person puts on. And that's a classic narcissistic behavior, and it's disgusting. I'm me on here. This is me. Who you see right here is who you're going to get if you were out here with me on the farm. I use foul language. I cuss quite a bit. I get loud sometimes. For the most part, I'm kind of reserved. I'm not a people person. But I will strike up a conversation with somebody if they're being kind and nice and not overwhelming. But I'm also the kind of person that if I go into a grocery store and there's too many people, I'll probably turn around and leave because I get too overstimulated, and it makes me anxious. It makes me terrified. I also get afraid that I'm going to run into a said person when I do go out. So as of now, where I live now, I don't really have that concern anymore, but I also still don't like larger crowds. But once I'm with a group of people that I know and I'm comfortable with and who I've got a rapport with, I'm pretty obnoxious and I can be loud and I can, roll with the punches kind of thing. I'm also pretty tough skinned. There are a couple things that will dive under my skin, but usually once I sit back and think about it, I'm like, not really. I know who I am. And I also know that I can be an absolute twat sometimes. And I'm okay with that. And you either take me as I am or go find something else to do with yourself. Because, so now, you get me and my aunt in a room together. Yeah, usually there's a lot of hilarity that ensues. I think we bounce off of each other pretty well. Pretty well. We also pick on each other constantly. So, we give each other a hard time all the time. And we also send each other reels back and forth every night. And, our sense of humor is pretty, I guess you say kind of raunchy in a way. We can be super inappropriate. But then again, we're also women in our 40s, or I'm in my 40s, she's now in her 50s. But, we constantly pick on each other. We're constantly giving each other a hard time. And we constantly say how much we love each other. Well, thank you, Jesse. And like I tell people on here, and the creeper may not agree because the creeper doesn't know me, doesn't really know or understand me at all. But this is me. You get in a room with me, we pour ourselves a glass together, we have a time to, shoot the shit with each other, have a conversation. I'm usually going to be downright flat out honest with you. And you're going to get this. This is me right here. I'm going to talk your ear off because I love to talk. And I'm probably going to aggravate the crap out of you once in a while because sometimes my conversations wildly go sporadic. I'll start on a topic and something else will remind me of something else in the middle of that topic, and we'll branch off for a minute, but we'll eventually get back to the story that we were talking about to begin with. But yeah, so this has actually been a treat. So I'm really glad that I got this as a present from Jay, because I am a Jack kind of girl, but I haven't had anything in for forever. So he brought this down the last time he was here, which was on the 3rd. And he said, "You're going to like this." And I was like, "You sure?" He goes, "Well, you like Jack, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, this is smoother. This is Captain Morgan's Spice Rum." And yeah, one, it's 100 times smoother. With Jack, I always have to have something to chase Jack with, or I'll pour Jack with Coke, because Jack is harsh. But this is smooth, real smooth. I mean, this is even to me smoother than Southern Comfort. And I'm not a Southern Comfort kind of girl. I think it's too sweet. This is like smooth, but has like this spice to it. Like it's just got this kick. And then it has the hit on you, the nice, gorgeous heat as it travels down, just like Jack does. Like Jack goes down with so much warmth. But this right here, I could see making a hot toddy with this. This would be a perfect mix for a hot toddy. Yeah, I think I might do that one night. But as of right now, I just did a little bit for tonight because it has been a long week, y'all. The insomnia has been working its magic. Let me tell you what. The other night, let me tell you. Anybody else want to understand dream sequence or dream information? Because that's something I really want to start looking into. Because what in the world? The last 3 nights, I've had horrible sleep. Horrible. It's something I've dealt with for years. We've talked about it on here. I have really bad insomnia. Yeah, see, I love it, Jesse. I love it. I love being able to come in here and hang out with you guys and talk with you guys. But I also tonight I already talked to my aunt. I told her that I was going to do a live stream and that I was going to go in here and that I was just going to really let it just dig in about the creeper, because I want the audience to know that we have a creeper in the background. Of every time we make a stream and every time I sit down with you guys to have a conversation, there's somebody creeping in the background trying to cause problems in my real life, outside of YouTube. They're trying to cause problems with my relationships in my day-to-day, which is weird because why are you trying to cause problems in a situation or with a person you actually don't want any relationship with? Make it make sense. You've made it clear for years that you want nothing to do with having an actual solid friendship or relationship or family bond with us, right? You've made it clear, super, super clear. So why are you trying to interfere in the relationships I do have with other blood relatives? Because you've made it clear you don't want to have that with us as a blood relative. So why does it bother you so much that I have a relationship with other family members, or that I'm involved with other family members, or that I went to the wedding, or that I went to the baby shower, or that I went to, other events that the family has? Why does that bother you so much when you had every opportunity to be a part of all those same things and chose not to be? You chose not to be. Not that you couldn't get there or that you, things were in your way or whatever, but you chose not to. You chose other activities to go to when you, at the time, lived super close. Now, you live very close now. You're within driving distance, at least a 45-minute distance from all of us. Some of us you're actually within fucking 10 minutes of. And some of the family, right? This person is within 10 minutes of. But yet, chooses never to pick up and come to the invitations that are offered. So, yo. Why? Why are you so hell-bent on trying to wedge in between, shove a wedge in there? Not you. You're not trying to shove yourself in there. You're trying to put a wedge in there to break apart or to disrupt relationships that have been built between myself and multiple family members, other family members. So with my uncle and my aunt, who are 2 of my biggest connections. And then to also like, because of my aunt, I have really good, strong connections to my cousins. So I have 4 cousins from my aunt, and we're all really well close. Like, I mean, I even helped make my one cousin's birthday, Jesus criminy, wedding cake, which I showed on here too. So we posted some pictures of my first time decorating a wedding cake. Pretty much love the same things. Yeah, exactly. So I don't understand. Like, you've made it clear you don't want to be a part of our family. Like myself, my kids with Jay, my grandbaby. Like, you've made that clear that you don't really want any part of this. But you also try to stay connected with, by just like a hit up here and there on Facebook or a phone call, with a couple of the other like blood relatives. But like, you never show up for any of the actual events when you're literally 10 minutes from one of the ones who does some of the biggest events. So I'm just like actually two of them, because a lot of the events we hold over at one of their houses, which is only 4 blocks away from my aunt's. So my aunt's house, 4 blocks away, is her one son and his wife and the kids. So, which is where we're doing one of the events that my aunt and I are planning. So I'm just curious as to why this person is trying so hard to put a wedge in somewhere it doesn't belong. I can tell you this right now. You can try your damnedest right now to wedge something in between there, but my aunt and I are really close, and we talk probably at least 2 or 3 times a week. And we literally, I'm not even kidding you. Hold on. This is literally an every night thing, an every night occurrence. I want to try to not have her information showing. But every night, like, she just sent these to me. As you can see, this is tonight. So she just sent those to me. We're back and forth sending memes. Like, she just sent these. This was at 8:58. She sent that one. That one was at 6:12. I just sent her a bunch of things about the eggs and told her I'd be bringing her more eggs. I sent her a thing about discreet packaging. Sorry. Earlier today at like 9:50 this morning. I sent her another thing because she loves Michael Jackson. I sent her that one earlier today at 12 o'clock when the baby was down for his nap. Yeah. So we literally go back and forth daily. With, oh my God, that thing is still going to make me crack up. Back and forth. She and I go back and forth every single day. So this person, just an FYI, you're trying to put a wedge in a relationship of 2 people that are, one, very close, and we talk about things, and every single time, there's been times where this person has mentioned something, while my aunt and I have been together, and I've posted something, or I've made a statement about something, or I've said something, or I've posted something in a video that she and I just talked about, and I show her, I'm sitting there showing it to her, and this person will get a phone call, my aunt will get a phone call from my uncle, or get a text message or message from this person, and they'll be talking about me negatively, and and we'll both be sitting there together when it happens, and she'll go, check it out. We're literally sitting there together, and you're messaging her, or you're messaging my uncle, with me sitting right there, just so I'm gonna let you know that you look stupid, because I'm sitting right there, and you're saying stuff about me, and I'm right there. It's like talking about someone while they're sitting across the table from you. Just an FYI. So by all means, keep listening here, keep watching, keep talking, because I'm loving it. It's quite entertaining, and yeah. So you're not going to get named. I'm not going to name you in here. I'm not going to name you on my social media. But I am going to enjoy waiting to find out if you decide to pop your mouth off with the couple of Easter eggs we've hidden in this video today. Because a couple of those Easter eggs are going to be quite hysterical. But yeah. So instead of our Italy trip this year, my aunt and I actually are planning a very special thing for someone. Like I said, this special person doesn't know it yet, but this is being planned for August. So we have a thing planned for, instead of going to Italy, we're going to be doing this special event for a family member, and they don't know it yet. They're not aware of what we're doing, and I'm quite excited. And the fact that I get to be a part of something like this is like, yeah, it's exciting. It's significantly exciting because I've never got to really do something like this and be a part of like something this big and planning something this big. And we're gonna have, I think, quite a few people are gonna be there. And so this person's gonna be quite shocked. But we're gonna make it work out beautifully. And I'm trying to convince one person. There's a person. Oh, thank you, Jesse. I'm trying to convince a person that probably would normally not attend stuff like what we're doing to go ahead and come, because this is going to mean a significant amount. But I also need to get a hold of, I need to get a hold of 2 other people to see if we can't get them here. We might be able to. But another thing. There's 2 really special people that I've had great contact with for a while now. So not just since my sister's passing, but previous to that, which are my 2 nieces. One of my nieces it's kind of in the air because they're really hard to talk to. But I think it's just because I'm just learning that person and learning how they are and how they talk and the life that they have had. But my other 2 nieces, one of them I got to be there when she had her baby boy, and I felt absolutely blessed to be able to do that. My other niece, I was a part of talking with her and stuff when she had her first little one, and now she has a second little one that was born the other day, and I got to FaceTime with her today, and got to see this little bundle of just pure cuteness, and confirmed for her that yes, he looks like she did when she was a newborn. They don't have very many pictures of her as a newborn. Actually, I don't think they have any other than from when she was 8 months old and up. So a lot of pictures of her that were taken when she was a newborn. The person that took those photos, I don't think has them anymore. But I remember very distinctly how she looked when she was a newborn. And there's only and I won't go into discussing what happened. I just can tell you that something very, very dramatic happened and very troubling happened back when she was a newborn. And I was a part of that. And so I know exactly what she looked like as a newborn baby. And to get to see that baby, I'm always going to be here. Oh, thanks, Jesse. But to look at that little boy that she just had and look at him and see her little face in him, what a treat. And I also get to talk to her quite often. And her first little boy and Carlisle, you can tell the family resemblance in them. There's so many similarities in their look, but also there's something that her oldest one has from his dad that takes away that separates the Carlisle and his look, which is great, because when they were babies, like their newborn photos of her little boy and Carlisle, they're only like 6 months apart in age. There's like a massive, like they look so much alike as newborns. It was crazy. But this new little one looks like her, and not so much his dad this time. So it's just crazy. But I feel so blessed to be able to have that connection with them, to those 2 girls, and the fact that those 2 girls will call me when they need something, or when they're trying to figure something out, um, or when they have questions about like motherly stuff. Um, and then the other one, she definitely has. Um, thank goodness she had some really good people that raised her and were connected with her. So she's got some good people around her. And then the second one, she's got some okay people, but for the most part, she and I talk quite a lot, and she had a rough go around. So she's just such a little free spirit. She reminds me of like how I felt when I was young. She's very free spirited, always wanted to have that homesteading kind of life, wanted to be able to have a plot of land, a house on that, raising chickens, and at the time, I would have loved to have had cows, maybe a couple of horses. Financially, that's kind of crazy now to think about that, because like financially, there's no way. Um, but and cattle wise wouldn't make any sense because none of us in the house can even drink dairy, or like milk, um, or even eat dairy like processed cheese. So there's a couple of cheeses we all can consume which are considered lactose free because the way that they're made gets rid of the lactose in them. If that makes sense, there's a list of them. You can look it up online. There's a whole list. But it doesn't matter. Even with lactose free, Carlisle has a dairy protein allergy. So a cow's protein allergy versus just being sensitive to dairy. So the protein allergy is a whole different thing. So that's what he has the allergy to. Whereas also Sarah has that same allergen. So there's no curing that. They can outgrow it, or become less sensitive to it. But as of right now, no. Sarah has gotten less sensitive to it, but she still has really bad experiences with things that have any kind of dairy in it. But for me, I have like a very bad lactose intolerance. It just messes my gut up. So I just kind of stay away from stuff like that. So it would make sense to have a cow. But horses, I would have loved to have had horses, but we only have 2.5 acres. Therefore, it wouldn't be feasible to have a horse on the property. They wouldn't really have a nice, what do you call it, like a grazing field to go in. I see people around here that have horses that don't have big properties, but I can't see doing that. I would want them to have, I would love it if I could have purchased the other 2 properties, but this one over here to the one side of us, the guy that owns that has refused to sell it since the day we bought this place. The people behind us, their property was, I guess you'd say it was in holdup by the city, but they have recently been allowed to finally take ownership of their property. It's been there, so I talked to the lady. They've owned it for a long time. However, there was ordinances and all kinds of stuff that the city was trying to get approval for, yada yada yada. And the 2 pieces of plotted land here, these people have owned it for a while. And then this person over here finally has access to their property too. So we weren't able to buy the 3 open spots. So kind of bummed out about that because we would have loved to have something bigger. I would have loved to have a full 10 acres because the whole point was we want to build a second house on the property, and then we wanted to be able to have a whole entire area that we could have for horses. We wanted at least 2 to have on the property, but that's not going to happen. And the cost was the other big thing. So seeing as the cost alone for just food was going to be out of our budget. And then not only that, but when you have horses, you've also got to have a hired vet on standby. So you have your vet person, and then on top of that, you got to make sure you have your farrier, the people that also take care of their teeth. You got to have complete checks, on a consistent basis. So it's not a feasible thing to do. And as much as I would love it, and I love horses and I love horseback riding, my hips probably wouldn't like me for it because I do have messed up hips now because of my injury. So it's just not one of those things where it's like, yeah, I want horses, but do I need horses? No. Can I afford to properly care for horses? No. So therefore, not a bright idea. So yeah, there's that. But now we're going to be just getting a few extra things done. I would love to get our front porch put in. Cannot wait to get that done. That would be the best part of this place, is getting that entire front area done that we want to do. So I need to make a couple of phone calls so we can figure out what the cost will be to do that renovation on the property. I want that whole entire front from one end to the other completely done. I want it to come from the front area by the rooms on that one side and wrap it around and come all the way up here. We don't want a back one, because the reason for that side over there is constantly hit by sunlight. And it would be nice to put, like, you know, an awning cover back there. I think it would be a great idea to get an awning cover back there. So that might be the big thing, is getting the awning cover put back there. But on the front half, I want a big wraparound porch. So that we have an entire area to sit out where we can be out of the sunlight, but completely able to be outdoors and enjoy the environment. The back side of the house, we're actually making the entire back side an entire dog run. So I think it would be great to have that entire side covered with an awning and then fenced completely in for the dogs to be under the awning and out of direct sun hit. So that's kind of what we're working on right now. But, you know, that shit takes time, guys. We haven't even been here a year yet. No. My hips are messed up because of my bad knee injury that I took. So because my knee, after my second surgery on my knee, they shortened the bone on the bottom bone. I always forget the freaking bone down there. But the one that comes up under your, like, you know how your upper part of your leg and your lower part of your leg that come together, and then you have your kneecap in front of that. So this bottom bone right here, when I had my second injury, this bone here cracked like an egg, right? So they took that and they shaved all that top down. It's not a massive shave off, right? But it's just enough, like just enough to put my hips just out of alignment. And so when I spend days like I did yesterday and today on my feet and outside, getting stuff done, pulling stuff, moving stuff, being on my feet, walking around for hours, and having them being like just slightly off. By the end of the day, like it's sore, but I don't notice it. And then when I lay down at night and go to get up the next morning, like this morning, it'll be excruciating. It'll be almost impossible to sit up in the bed because my hip has just been rubbing on my that little part like where your hip comes together in the back where your coccyx is. Because they're offset, it just rubs in there, like the way that the hips shift. And so the way my pelvis is moving, my lower back will be in excruciating pain on my left side. And so some days I can manage to get up and deal with the pain. And then other days it'll be so bad I will be in tears trying to sit myself up. I know a couple weeks ago we were doing a whole bunch of stuff, getting things set up for the baby chickens that were going outside a couple weeks back. And by the end of that day, the next morning, I physically couldn't roll myself onto my left side to get out of the bed. Rolling onto my right side, I could roll onto my right side, but then when I went to try to like set myself up, I could not touch my left butt cheek to the bed without searing pain. So I just had to stay laying on my back and wait until my body decided that I was allowed to get up. Sometimes it's not even about that. It's about just being able to grit my teeth and get through the excruciating pain to get myself out of the bed. And once I'm up and on my feet, I can't like bend forward or like reach up above my head to grab something. So I get very limited in my mobility on those days. which is one reason why I fought so hard with the VA for almost 17 years, because of the fact that had I not gotten injured the way I did in the service, I wouldn't have these other injuries that have become after effects, you know. So because of that injury, it caused this problem to cause this problem. And so, yeah, it's like a snowball effect, you know. So it started off as this injury here, and that injury became a bigger injury because of that small injury. It led to a bigger one. And then that bigger injury caused me to have another issue, which now has progressed into another issue. And that's just the way it is. So, you know, yeah. But yeah, so today it was painful getting around today, but it wasn't unmanageable. I'm hoping that, you know, tomorrow I feel much better. I'm going to be chasing the little one around his gymnastics class tomorrow. But that always wears me the heck out. And Sarah can't do it just yet because she's still trying to, you know, get better on her ankle. And because he's so fast acting, this kid is, he's such a little hyper go get him kind of kid. Yeah. So she's not gonna be able to chase him around in there. And so I will be the one that pretty much is on the run after him. Just making sure that he's not, you know, getting onto anything that's going to injure him. Or it gets him in a position where, because he's super brave. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, this kid has, like, no fear when it comes to his gymnastics ability. So sometimes he'll get himself in a predicament or in a spot that might actually get him an owie. And so you kind of have to, like, rein him in, so to speak. So sometimes that includes me having to climb up on top of the really tall trampoline. And I don't think Sarah is going to be getting up on any trampolines anytime soon with her ankle that has seized on her back tendon because she was in a cast for so long, which caused her Achilles tendon to shrink, which now limits her foot from being able to, like, you know, when you're standing and you can pull your toes towards you, you know, she can't. So when she goes to take a step, her foot stops at like this instead of being flat to the ground. Her foot's stuck kind of slightly at a pointed toe, so to speak. So yeah, she's doing all kinds of like exercises that the doctors are doing, and we're waiting for physical therapy to finally like get her in so that we can get her doing the exercises, and start working with physical therapy to start stretching that tendon without ripping it, because that's the last thing she needs is to tear her Achilles tendon, because those don't usually heal all that great. But yeah, so there's that. But yeah, when she broke it, she broke it. I was like, damn, girl, like the doctor even said, I mean, go hard or go home on that one. And she went hard as heck. So, yeah. But she's a champion, let me tell you what. I ain't never seen nobody shatter their ankle on both sides. Both bones on both sides. Like this bone and this bone. Not on her wrist, but on her ankle. I'm not showing my feet on camera. But imagine this is the foot. She broke this bone here and this one here. Just shattered them. Like this inner one shattered into over 30 pieces. This one here broke into multiple. And she didn't make a peep. She didn't cry. She didn't scream in agony. She just looked at me and said, I broke it. I broke my ankle. And she sat there for a minute and then just focused on something else. Like she just found a thing in the room to focus on and kept talking to us. And when I talked to her afterwards, and so did the gymnastics studio manager, and she said, I don't know how you did that, how you didn't even scream out. And she goes, my only thought was, one, my son was right there, Carlisle was right there, And two, there was a whole classroom full of children 2 and under, and I didn't want to scare them. That was where her mindset went when she shattered the bones in her ankle. In every other situation, anybody would have screamed out in agony, and she didn't. She just held it together and was like, there's children here, there's little ones here, and the last thing I want to do is scare any of them. So she just held it together. When the paramedics got there and like set her foot in the thing, she bit down on her wallet. By the way, still to this day has big teeth marks in it. She bit down on her wallet, to her leather wallet, to like keep herself from screaming out, while they pulled on her foot to set it in place and tape it into the splint. And once they had that done, she kind of turned pale white, and then they put her in the little thing and lifted her and pulled her out of there. And I have to say, like, props to her, because she completely held it together all the way through the entire experience. Even when they were rolling her out of the gymnastics studio, she just she told everybody, I'm fine, thank you guys, I'm okay. And then we came back 2 weeks later to his next class, which he had a class before that, but because we were still dealing with the hospital stuff, we ended up not going to that class. We came back 2 weeks later, and they were just all baffled by the fact that when we got there and we talked to them about her surgery, and they were like, oh my gosh, it was that bad. Like, how did you not scream out like that? So now she's just got big old scars that run like from like midway down her foot and all the way up, and the same thing on the other side. So she's got like scars that are like this long on both sides, that go like the shape of her foot. So, you know, props to her. She's a freaking trooper. I couldn't imagine shattering bone like that. Like, even when I shattered the tip of my finger, which by the way is still misshapen, in our garage door, when the two garage panels came together on that heavy ass garage door that didn't have a garage door opener, it was just a straight up garage door that you had to lift with your hands. When that thing came rolling down and I tried to stop it from crushing the cat, because it didn't have a garage door opener, so it didn't have a sensor, I tried to stop the door from coming down, and my finger got caught between the two panels, and it closed on my finger. And I'll tell you what, the pain wasn't what got me, because it didn't hurt at first. It was the sound. And the same thing Sarah said. The pain wasn't what got her. It was the sound of the crunch of the bone. Like the sound. Here's the thing. Externally, now, if you've never broken a bone, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But when you break a bone, everything in your body is connected in some form, right? When you break a bone, you hear it inside. Yeah, see, your guy. I'll show you something now. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I'll show you. So, like I said, she shattered. It wasn't even a little break. She shattered that bone so badly. Let's see if I can find where are you? Hello. So if you're queasy about stuff like this, look away, right? So, giving a heads up, if you get queasy, look away. So this is one side from surgery. And this is the other side from surgery. So, she definitely did a full-on number on that poor ankle. And it was crazy too when you look at like how bad it was broken. So this was right after surgery, but she had surgery within like days after breaking it. So how purple and bruised her entire foot up her, all the way up her, like, shin and everything was. Yeah, she was in pretty bad shape after she broke it. This was before the surgery, so this was it. But like I said, guys, if you're grossed out by this stuff, this was before the surgery, so you can just see how her foot's just completely broken. Like her ankle's just broken. That's the open wound from where it snapped open. God, it was so swollen. Where's the photo? It's not that one. Where is the one? We took one of her, where you could see, like, from the time she got there to the hospital to when, by the time we left, how it went from looking like it, like from when she first broke it, to how swollen it became in that time frame. So this was right after we first got there, and this was as they were prepping her to set her ankle when we were leaving. Like, look at how it swelled. We had to actually, like, take her pant leg and, like, cut it and move it because it was getting so tight. So, just so you guys are, like, when I say she really did a number on her ankle, we weren't kidding. So, but yeah, this poor girl. What a long road to recovery, because we are now, what, 6 months out from surgery, and she's just starting to finally get to where she can walk without a cane. It's not fun, it's still quite painful, but she can get around without a cane now, and that's a big deal. Oh my god, this is so funny. I took a picture the other day of one of my girls' eggs when she first started laying, to compare to a week later, the difference in, like, her egg size, right? So one of her first eggs, I cracked it next to one of her new eggs, and you can see how much her eggs and her yolks have grown, and I couldn't quit laughing because look at the size difference. Look at this wee bitty egg. Look at that big egg. You know what? I'm not. Sarah, when Sarah was 9 years old, was she 8? She was 8. She was 8 years old. When Sarah was 8 years old, her and Taylor were outside and they were moving some boulders around in our yard, right? And I don't know what they were doing. I don't remember exactly what it was. We were doing yard work, but they were moving the couple of boulders around. And Sarah happened to try to pick one up, right? So she had, like, pulled it to herself and she kind of, like, rolled it up on herself. And as she got to, like, right here, it slipped out and it landed on her foot, okay? And I'm talking about probably a good 15, 20-pound boulder. She got that thing up on her chest and there was no way she was going to walk with it. And as she tried to move, it fell and it landed on her foot. She didn't even cry. She just was like, ow, 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 and sat down in the yard. And I was like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I came over to check on her. We checked her foot and whatnot. And she, she sat there and she rubbed her foot with her hand and whatnot. And she was like, oh, ow, ow, ow. Got up, walked around for a minute, like trying to walk it off for a second, whatever. And that evening, we had just gotten the dance pads for their, the Dance Revolution thing for the game system that they had. And that night, they played Dance Revolution, her and Taylor. And then the next day, same thing. They got up and they played Dance Revolution. I think it was 3 days. 3 days into after dropping this boulder on her foot, she comes up to me and she's like, "My foot really hurts tonight, Mom." And I was like, "Does it? Are you okay?" And I said, "Let me look at it." And we go to look at it, and like, you know, when you injure yourself, usually bruising happens pretty soon after, right? So I would have noticed it when they were getting their baths and stuff, because I always made sure that, you know, at the end of the day they had their lotion and everything from after their bath. So I'm like, that would have been noticeable because she runs around the house all the time with bare feet. So when she takes her sock off when we're sitting in the living room, this is like 3 days later, she takes her sock off and her foot on top is purpley black. I was like, holy cow, we need to go to the hospital. So I take her to the hospital and they do an x-ray on her, and 3 of her bones in the top of her foot are broken. And I'm like, okay, but were they broken when she dropped the boulder? Or did she injure it when she dropped the boulder and broke it the rest of the way while doing Dance Revolution? Because, you know, you're using the dance pad with your feet. I think the second one was more likely, was that she probably fractured the bone, like hairline fractured it, like actually cracked it. But then in the process of dancing and stomping around and doing the really quick movements, which they were in full-blown Dance Revolution, I think that's when she like did them in, because they were already like injured. And you know, we all have done that, where we've all walked something off like, I'm fine, I'm good, and which is how she is. So I know she has a huge pain threshold, right? Like, she's got a threshold way up there. Just like when she had Carlisle, when she gave birth to Carlisle, she did that medication free. And then she got an epidural in because they were going to give her Pitocin and like amp up her contractions, because she was kind of not really getting very far. They were wanting to kind of move things along because his heart rate kept having issues, so they wanted to kind of try to move things along. That didn't go very well. They immediately shut off her Pitocin and immediately shut off her epidural. She only had her epidural, I think, 35 minutes, 40 minutes. And they shut it, like they closed all that down so she could feel and whatnot. And he was born very quickly, by the way. He was delivered very fast. The hope is that she'll never have to do that again in her life, because delivering him as quickly as she did caused him to get really badly bruised and made him, of course, when a baby gets that badly bruised, they become jaundice, because it takes a lot to break down bilirubin when they're that little. And so hopefully down the road, if she ever decides to go through a pregnancy again or whatnot, like, she won't ever have to go through an emergency delivery like that. That was terrifying. Because yeah, his delivery was scary. We didn't even film any of it. We got his first cry on audio, but that's it. We had the audio recording going, but we did not get the camera set up and started because everything happened so fast, because he wasn't doing good. Like, his heart rate had dropped and wasn't coming back up. It was an emergency, like, get him out now kind of scenario. And so scary. But yeah, so going to probably, I don't know, I'm gonna try to like lay in tomorrow a little bit. Everybody's got all their little goodies and stuff, so I just have to get up and go make sure that Ralph has what he needs in his little area, because and then because he doesn't have any water or anything in there, but I just need him to recover tonight. It's nighttime. He should just roost up on the roosting bar and just take a night off, and then give him I'll take the thing out there tomorrow. I've got it sitting in the other room, so I'll just take that out there to him and some all flock, see how he does. But then again, I might just give him water, because tomorrow afternoon when we get back, we should be kind of just, saying goodbye to all of them at that point, because we can't have the roosters tearing each other up like that, because that's really perfect good meat right now, and they're just damaging each other. So we gotta put an end to that. it'll be less stressful too to kind of take care of that issue. We'll see. We shall see. But other than that, guys. So yeah, so I just figured we would hang out in here. I want to, for one, I want to kind of say things and do things in the video because I want to see how far in or for how long this person is creeping, and then or how long of the video they're watching through, or if they're kind of just skipping and jumping around in the video. Because if they mention stuff that has happened this far in versus stuff that happened at the beginning and whatnot, that tells me that they're either one of jumping around or two, they're watching the video through. Either way, I'm finding entertainment in it. So maybe I'm the jerk for doing it though. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think it's okay. Like, you want to be weird and creep, I guess it's okay for me to be an asshole about it. So, I mean, I look at it this way. If you're in here and you're creeping and you're watching, yeah, it was very dramatic and terrifying. But Sarah, what a freaking hero she was. She's such a freaking warrior, I'll tell you what. I ain't never seen a woman push her kid out in 2 contractions, which is altogether 6 pushes technically. So you do 3 big pushes with each contraction. She got him out in 2 contractions. And not only did she do that, but the doctor had put the suction cup on his head to get him out. And we found out, of course, as he was coming out, why his heart rate had gone so far down. And it's because he had grabbed his umbilical cord in his fist and had his hand by his cheek. So he came out with one hand like this and the other hand like this. And he had a hold of his umbilical cord in both of those. So he had one hand across his chest instead of his arms being down at his sides. So he had one in his, up against his cheek and one hand down like against his chest. And so that's how he decided to come into the world, was he packed his bags and said, let's go. Which, of course, because he was being squeezed through and he had it in his fist, he was holding and clamping off his own umbilical cord. Which was clamping off all his oxygen and stuff. So, yeah, scary. Let me tell you what, scary. But that girl right there, that woman out there, girl, that woman is a freaking hero. A hero, a warrior, a champion, whatever you want to call it. The doctor called her a rock star. He told her she was a rock star. And he was like, I want you to know I'm not. Like, when she came in for her follow-up appointment, he was like, I want you to understand, I wasn't trying to be a smartass with you or be condescending with you, but you literally were a rock star. And I meant it when I said it. And I was like, that is so cute. Like, he was letting her know that he was not making fun of her in any way, whatnot. He, like, genuinely considered her an absolute rock star. Because he was like, I didn't think you had it in you. You were in so much discomfort in that last part of your pregnancy. And for her to show discomfort, she had to have really been uncomfortable, because she has a massive threshold for pain. So if she's telling you she's in pain or she's uncomfortable with something physically, like she's physically uncomfortable, and that it's causing some discomfort and some distress in her, it's because it is. So yeah, I guess what a rock star. So very impressed with her. But yeah, so you know. Yeah, she did fantastic. It was funny too, because she was like, I don't think I really probably should have had the epidural. She's like, I wasn't even really in that much pain. She's like, it wasn't even like, I didn't even hardly feel any pain. And I was like, she's like, but I wasn't sure how long the labor was going to take, and I was going to want to get some rest and not feel the constant, like, over and over again contractions. But, you know, to each their own. So, yeah. But anyway, guys, I'm going to get off here. It is 11:55. It's midnight. So, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to go to bed so that I can get up early enough. We're going to take little one to gymnastics. And I'm going to take care of these birds. Because, yeah, that needs to be done. Because, yeah, I I can't have them like that over and over again. I can't leave them doing that to each other. So you guys are fantastic and amazing. And I'm gonna get out of here because y'all are so freaking cool. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.